Hey, what's happening? What's happening? Welcome to another episode of Hope. We here. And we are excited to do this again. We got a lot more game. I think this class is going to be pretty insightful. So please, if you got your notepads and pens, get them ready. We're gonna go in depth tonight. Definitely more abstract thinking, as well as we're going to go deeper in culture, rules, laws, because these are some topics that I think before we end this year, everyone needs to understand. It's going to shift and shape the way we think. What we're talking about now, these are the things that shape and shift the way you think. And once you shift the way you think, then the world responds to you differently. So let's get into it. Before we get into it, I want to talk about something real quick, and it's this. And it's based on a conversation I had with Pastor Chris today, which was a dope conversation, but it reminded me to remind you guys something. And that's this. There's something called harmonic wealth. It's an old philosophy, not old, but it's a philosophy from someone who he ended up going to jail for like doing some woo-woo shit. But he had a great philosophy, harmonic wealth. And the philosophy was this, is that we all should be striving to be the best we can be in these 5 areas of our life, not just one. Getting rich is like getting rich and getting wealthy. But if you're not wealthy in other areas, then it's just as bad as being poor. So harmonic wealth is financially, mentally, mental and emotionally, spiritually, physically, relationship. That's the philosophy. Now, there's lots of other, but I like this one. And basically the premise behind it is you should never just be 100% focused in your life on becoming wealthy. And that's it. Because what good is wealth if you have no one to share it with?
Come on now. Ugh.
What good is wealth if you are depressed? What good is wealth if your body's fucked up and your health is fucked up? Like, and becoming wealthy, building a business and growing a business is as we all know, it has lots of challenges attached to it. So say it takes you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 years to build a successful business, but you forgot to build successful body or successful mind or successful relationships. It's going to feel empty. So yes, it's hard adding those to your plate as you're coming up in this entrepreneurship shit. So yeah, if it was up to me personally, I can work 20 hours a day. I could. Savage like that. You know what stops me? My daughter, my woman. I gotta go home. I gotta put a stop to this. Not because I'm tired, but because I have to invest in the other parts of wealth that's important.
Come on, bro.
So same with eating. It's hella easy when you're in the pursuit of entrepreneurship, business, to just shove everything, just eat whatever's around you. But because you're focusing so much on building this 1% thing that you ain't got time to worry about what you got to eat now, and I got to go to the gym. Yes, you do. In this class, you do. Yes, you do. Because I don't want to look at you 5, 6, 7 years from now and you built this amazing business and don't nobody fuck with you because you ran everybody off. Your mental health is depressed and down and you're all over the place and your health is fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta be harmonic with it. You do whatever you gotta do. I missed the gym this morning. Guess where I'm going after class? To the gym. Because I can't miss. Now, did I have a long? Yeah, I had a long. Who cares? Because that's what we signed up to do. It's what you got to sign up to do. You have to invest in all 5 of those things all the time. You have to invest in all 5 of those things all the time. Just taking the shortcut route of the business stuff, the game is cold. Like we talked about last week, the game is cold. So when you least expect it, it could catch up to you if you don't invest. Now, does that guarantee that everything will be perfect in your life? Hell no. But we play in a probability game, right? So what we're saying is the odds, the probability of things being good go up based on what you're investing. So it's a harmonic game we're playing, mentally and emotionally. That's why we read Ego is the Enemy, Emotional Agility, as well as we read the strategy books and understand how to build and strategize, because we know that the core of your business is you. So if you ain't right, your business ain't going to be right. So harmonically, I'm not suggesting you guys go out and read that book, but I love the surface premise of it. Harmonic wealth, meaning you're investing in all 5 of those pillars at all times. Again, mental and emotionally, right? Spiritually, your spiritual practice, whatever that spiritual practice is, you have one, even if it's going off and staring at the sun. Regardless, whatever your spiritual, have one. Physically, what are you doing with your body and your nutrition? Financially, that's the business side of you. Your money, personally, all your money, your business side of you, and relationship wise. And if you had to score yourself on those 5 things, what score would you give yourself? Scale of 1 to 10. Where are you at in each one of those? It's not to degrade you. It's just to give you an idea of where you are. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in relationships? You got happy, strong, healthy relationships? Or are you going through friends and partners like Skittles? Where are you money-wise? Scale of 1 to 10. Spiritually, where are you? Physically, where's your body at? Mentally and emotionally, where are you? Just think about it. Write it down in your notes and come back to it 5-6 months from now. Last thing I'm going to speak on this is this. This is just keeping it 100. Coming from a place of how can I word this? I come from a place where there's not a lot of rules. So I had to create my own morality. Does that make sense? So I come from a place where it ain't a lot of rules. Damn near anything goes. So there wasn't no right or wrong or this or that. You know, there was church, but church was so high up in terms of not being able to even come close to meet the standards of that. The world that I was in, not a lot of rules. So we sort of created our rules around morality. So as I've grown as a person and as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things that I had to let go, shed off, stop doing, let go, shut off, stop doing. Not because I thought it was bad, not because I didn't want to stop doing it. It's just because it wasn't healthy for me. So over time, over years of learning and growing and shedding and learning and growing and shedding, you look around like, damn, I'm a real fucking square. I don't do nothing. Look around. It's not much between me and a pastor. There's maybe one or two. Like, there's not much left of ratchetness to do. Mm-hmm. So you know what your mind sometimes does? It wants an outlet. It needs an outlet sometimes. Because if you're shedding off so much, because in the pursuit of excellence as a person, and if you come from this spectrum, your body and your mind, your spirit sometimes needs an outlet. So what typically happens a lot of times, our outlets become food. I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't do that, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't do that, I don't do that. But don't tell me what to eat. I'm gonna eat what I want. Because I don't do nothing. Let me have something. And for you, it may not be food, but for some of us, it might be food. But for others, it might be something else. For me, it's something else. But I want us to have an honest conversation. That's dangerous. Mm-hmm. It's dangerous. It don't make mine no much better than yours and whoever, because as we scale up and become bigger people, we also have to be willing to let go of that too. And that's hard, especially if you've peeled off so much. I don't do nothing, man. Damn, I can't do nothing. We're human beings. We all need healthy outlets. But we don't want to put ourselves in positions to where our outlet ends up becoming a thing that we're just not depositing in, and over time it bites us. That's just real human one-on-one talk. We also got to be willing to let that go too. If we ever say, well, I don't care what, I'm not doing that. I'm not letting go of that. That's my thing. All right. Okay. My thing used to be, I used to break little laws. I had to get it out of my system. I'm a rebel. I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm such a fucking square. I'm fucking running this red light. Fuck that. I'm gonna just make my own parking spot. Fuck that. You know that parking spot where I know. I make my own rules. Make my own laws up. Because it was me kind of like releasing some of that tension. I ain't putting back my weights. Fuck that. I need to break some. I need to rebel against something because it's my nature to rebel. But guess what? Do I notice the people that are watching me? People are watching. And you don't realize the opportunities that don't mess with you because of the people who are watching and will never say nothing. But they just watch your small habits. Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. I didn't know that. Yeah. Your eyes can't see everything. You have to play the game. Like Steve Jobs' dad said, you have to paint the other side of the fence that nobody sees. For the purpose of you did a complete job. And when somebody tears that fucking fence down one day, it's going to add to your legacy. So it's very, very important. It's very important that we have to be willing to even divorce the things that we don't want to let go. That's our little. Now, if shit happens, it happens. Nobody's perfect. We're not talking about being perfect. We're saying if you're holding on to bad habits because of all the other bad habits you've given away, it's a problem. It's a problem. And it may not be one now, but it could be one in the future. And those are the toughest. I'm speaking to myself too. Cool? All right, let's go. This is going to be a fun one. Ooh wee.
All right. Programming versus nature. One of the most important fundamentals you'll ever understand. Life doesn't flow flawlessly on instinct. Most of your ease comes from previous programming, habits, and disciplines that make success automatic.
Okay, so let me preface this. Programming versus nature. So there's a lot of things that you guys do now with ease. Like, who's a good cook? Who can cook their ass off? Anybody? So Shakina can cook. She wasn't born cooking. She had to learn how to cook, and the repetition of cooking and the practice of cooking happened so much that over time it feels like nature, but really it's programming. Mm-hmm. So I want you guys to understand the difference. Y'all hooped, right? So if I threw you the ball right now, dribbling through the legs feels like you was born doing it. It's easy, nothing. If I put a hoop up, you could probably knock down 6, 7 out of 10. You wasn't born a hooper. All the practice that you had to overcome, all the shots you had to put up is what makes it feel now that it's close to just second nature. But it's not nature, it's programming. Mm-hmm. And this is a very, very, very important distinction that this is going to help you in business and help you in life as well. Keep going.
Most of your suffering comes from your nature, your untrained impulses conflicting with the laws of success. You are not fighting the world. You are fighting your wiring.
Oh my God. So you have to understand your nature. You have to understand what your natural propensity is to do. And know that a lot of times our suffering is just the conflict between our nature and the laws of success. So our nature might be here, but the law of success is right here. But we think this feels natural to do. This feels natural. This feels right. The success is right here, or success is over here. And you think because it feels right that it should work, but it's not. The conflict is between your nature and success. So what a lot of us are unwilling to do is let go of our nature and reprogram ourselves to whatever that law of success is.
Can you say that again, man?
So a lot of us, where our suffering comes from is that we have our nature and we have success. And it might be over here or up here or down here or here. But the nature just feels right. It just feels right. It feels like the right thing. My body's telling me it's right. Like everything's telling me it's right. But you ain't getting no results. But so you suffering because you ain't getting no results. When what you have to be willing to do is let go of your nature and reprogram yourself into what success is, where success is. And it's like, it's like I'm being fake or I'm not being myself. You never was yourself. Everything that you are right now has been programmed into you by somebody, some environment, something. You've been programmed this whole time. Why do we dress black in here? Everybody in here is dressed according to our culture. Why? That your outfits have been in your head from the day you were born. You knew that you was going to dress like this? No, you've been programmed to. Every detail. What's cool, what's not. Your environment, when you were roasted in 6th grade for wearing them bubblegum shoes or the shoes with the flops open or whatever, you didn't realize that's part of your programming. That's part of the programming. So when it comes to business, when it comes to success, when it comes to happiness, when it comes to being wealthy in any one of those areas that we talked about, you got to let go of nature. If you are not getting the results that you want, you got to let go of your nature. I'm gonna keep it 100. My nature, my true nature. If I just let myself just into my nature, I'm lazy as fuck. I don't want to do shit. I don't. My nature, kicking it. Using my brain to try to get as much done as I can with the least amount of work. That's my nature. I don't want to do no work. But the thing is, how is that going for you? How is that going for you? That's the question you have to ask. If the answer is not where you want it to be, then I have to go against my nature. I learned that early. I had a best friend named Eric, and his family, they were a black family, and his dad had a contracting business. They were like the only black family in this one neighborhood, just always mobbing like brand new Lincoln Continentals and like big giant houses with swimming pool in the back. And I was fascinated by this family. Like, damn, this is the kind of the Huxtables in real life. Dad always, because he was a contractor, always yoked, muscles, biceps. And so I said, hey, can I come to work with you? He was like, yeah, of course. I lasted half a day. Got there at 8. By 12, I was asleep in the back of his car, back of the truck. Couldn't handle that shit. Hell no, I'm not taking a sheetrock climbing up a ladder on top of a house and putting, hell no, I'm not doing that. But he's like, this is how I got all of this stuff. It's not going to just be handed to you. My nature, kicking it. Nature's kicking it. I'll tell you another thing. My nature is when shit gets like rough to like, just like, man, I don't want to do this. That's my nature. So I had to learn, oh yeah, that's not, these two things ain't happening. I had to confront both of those. Lock myself in a room with both of those and be like, one of us is walking out of here. Mm-hmm. I'm killing you. I'm killing you and I'm killing you. Mm-hmm. And this says, how do you, it's not the next slide yet. So I had to reprogram my mind so that over time, I forget that that's even my nature. If you ask any of my close friends, what's Court's qualities? His work ethic is crazy. And he ain't afraid of shit. If they only knew that my nature, those two things are completely the opposite. But that's what we talked about earlier before class. Purpose. When you have purpose, you're willing to do some crazy shit against your nature. One of the things that's made me reprogram my nature, my mom becoming a single mom. Courtney was scary than a motherfucker. Scary little kid. Scared of the dark, scared of this, scared of that. Just a scary little motherfucker. But once my mom became a single mom, man, where they at? You mess with my mom? You mess with my mom? Let me make a weapon. I'll fucking do whatever, protect my mom. Right? I had to reprogram my brain, my nature. It's possible to. The suffering a lot of times come because y'all don't want to change. Y'all want to stay where you at, but you still want the success. It will never work. Next slide.
How programming works. Programming is repetition plus consequence plus reflection. It's brushing your mind like your teeth, daily hygiene for behavior. When your environment rewards discipline long enough, success stops feeling like struggle and starts feeling like rhythm.
Okay. So programming is repetition. It's repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. That's why this class only works so much for a small group of people, because after the class, they take the class and they try it in the real world. If you don't do that, it just does nothing for you besides have small ancillary knowledge that you can throw around when you want to. But the repetition of the class is what makes this programming valuable and the change happen for you. The thinking about it. Damn, I don't understand that part. What does this mean? Or let me try this. Even if what you're trying is wrong, you're out there. Repetition. Programming is repetition. That's how are we animals or are we not animals? Are we human animals or are we not? Mm-hmm. Okay, we are? Okay, are we supposed to be the smartest human animals out there? We're supposed to be, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you train a dog to sit?
Command them and reward them for good behavior.
That's how you train a dog to sit. How you train a human how you reprogram a human, you train them the same way. Repetition, reward, consequence. Repeat. Repetition, reward, consequence. But the extra thing that we have that dogs don't or other animals don't, we have the ability to reflect on it. Ponder, think about it, learn from the lesson, get better, tweak it, really reflect. Try it this way, try it that way. What is the odds? What's the probabilities? We have a higher level of thought to help us drive the programming into our minds a little bit better. But that's how you do it. You can't reprogram without lots and lots and lots of repetition. Now, depending on your nature, depends on how much repetition you need, how far away from the success goal you are. So if you say, let's go back to hoop, and you know somebody who's a natural, they're here. Success in hoop is here and they're here. Good for fucking you. Good job. You 6'8", and you run like 4'4", and you got 50-inch vertical leap, and you ain't lifted a weight in your life. Good job. It's amazing. But if you have the same hoop dreams and yours is over here, then your programming has to be different from his programming. Correct? Mm-hmm. Y'all two can't go to the gym the same times and practice the same times. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. You got a 3x to get closer. You got a 3x to get here closer. Whereas they could just stumble. Chris Mullin used to come to the Oakland Arena drunk as fuck and light everybody asses up for 30. Whereas I can't even drink at all. I can't have no alcohol. You see the difference? Doesn't mean that life ain't fair. So fucking what? Some people, I have my best games when I'm high. There's some people have their best games high as fuck. I can't smoke at all. Well, shit, life ain't fair. You got to do what you got to do to get to program yourself to get there closer. Some people say, hey, I'm not good with numbers. Well, get good with numbers. Do it. So your repetition has to be different than somebody's repetition who's good with numbers, who's a natural with numbers. So what? Double up, triple up. Because once your programming gets there, it's going to be hard to tell who's not, tell the difference between somebody who's a natural and you, because we can simulate nature with enough practice. We can simulate nature with enough practice. You got a question?
Can you tap in more to what the segment of consequences for this?
Absolutely. So in today's society, there seems to be a little bit of taboo around the truth, around not being good enough, being wrong, fucking up, making mistakes. That's not it. This ain't it. As a true entrepreneur, or just in this arena as a whole, we got to be able to reflect and say, man, that's not right. What, like, I got to do it again. Like, reward and punishment is how human beings change. They say you can teach an old dog new tricks if you have a big enough carrot and a big enough stick. Humans are similar. So there's I know I'm on these basketball analogies, but this is very, very fitting. I forget the player it was, but he was talking about when he first got into the NBA. He couldn't shoot threes because a three-point line is different. So he's doing terribly. He's playing for Miami. And the Miami head coach was an amazing behavioral therapist. So he knew he had to get him over that threshold to get him to be a good shooter in the NBA. So he shoots from the side baseline three. He baseline three, he shoots 60 out of 100. Now, any hooper knows that's terrible in practice. In practice, as a hooper, high school, even if you're a senior in high school, you should be in the 90s because nobody's guarding you by yourself. Am I lying or am I right? Okay. This dude's in the NBA, 60 out of 100. So head coach says, run 10 laps after he make that. I just finished shooting and practicing. I got to run 10 laps. So he runs 10 laps. Exhausted, gets back, do it again. He says, and every time you go below 70, you got to run 10 laps. So he shot again. He shot 65. Run 10 laps. He's like, I'm about to die here. I don't care if you die. You got to get 70 or you keep running until you die. So he came back after the 10 and shot again, and he was at 69 with one shot left. 69 out of 99. He missed. Run 10 laps. his body, that's coach breaking him down, backing him into an emotional wall and forcing him that he's reprogramming him in that moment. He put him in a situation, a do or die. After that 69, he came back and shot 75, exhausted. But he said, now we never have to do this again because I just reprogrammed your insides that it's possible for you. And he said from that day forward, he was a decent shooter. Like, we don't have rites of passages like that a lot of times for ourselves. There's no consequences. We don't have consequences for our actions. Actually, the world says, be gentle, be nice, be soft to yourself. Hell no. Didn't get it. Not saying you're abusive to yourself. Is that you have to understand how to motivate you. What motivates you? What doesn't motivate you? What gets you going? What gets you to do one more rep or stay extra long or be somewhere when you don't feel like being there, but you know it's what you're supposed to do. Like, all those things are the things that you have to pull out of you and program yourself. So when times are ugly or times are tough, it's still automatic. So human beings, we're programmed through repetition, reward, punishment. Sorry, that's how it goes. That's how human beings are wired. So repetition is important. Keep going.
Athletes don't try to show up. They're programmed to. That's culture made personal.
So in entrepreneurship, it's the same. We become entrepreneurs a lot of times for different reasons. But the premise behind entrepreneurship is you don't have someone behind you pushing you. You ain't got no job like that. You don't have somebody behind you. Go, 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 go. You could do it. You could do it. So the most important thing you can do as an entrepreneur is learn how to do it yourself. Learn how to program yourself. Learn how to get yourself up. Learn how to push your mind when you want to drift. Learn how to get you back on track when you want to get distracted by things. You have to learn how to manage the brain, mind, spirit within you, because nobody's going to do it for you as an entrepreneur. They're not.
Stop there.
Can I ask a follow-up?
So if you're like, well, I want to go to the gym, but I need a workout partner. You got some work to do, because there ain't no workout partners in entrepreneurship. Even if you get a partner, you have to be able to be a motivating factor for yourself and do what you're supposed to do. Go ahead.
Okay, so you know how they say how you live one part of your life is how you live all parts of your life? So like in business, I feel like I have a pretty accurate grounding on these things. In my personal life, I definitely have a problem with consequence, which is why I asked. So like, I will knock out repetitions like my life depends on it because I don't have a problem with friction. But my nature is when conflicts arise, I'm ready to fight. Like that's just like my response is battlefield, right? And that's been something that I know and that I've intentionally tried to work on because I know that fighting doesn't solve most problems. But then I find myself battling my nature up like a lot because I'll be like, okay, well, I'll put in the reps, I'll learn the things, I'll do all of the repetition stuff, and I'll also do all of the reflection stuff. But when my brain gets confronted with consequences, I'm like, what do you mean consequences? Like, and so I'm trying to figure out how to rewire that part of my brain because it really is like in my head when consequences are on the table, and I'm sharing this because I'm thinking that maybe other people might have the same problem. So, don't Don't leave me hanging, y'all, if y'all got the same problem. But like, what do you do like if your nature is not to be scary but to charge at things? Like, cause like how do you develop a better relationship with consequence?
Again, it comes down to the three things: repetition. So it's putting yourself in situations where you would charge and you decide something different, and you practice that to be calm. Putting yourself in situations where you would charge, and then you practicing situations where you would charge and you be calm over and over again. And then over time, monitoring yourself in those situations, because that's where the reflection comes in. So it says, all right, I'm intentional about, I don't care what happens, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to say, you got it. Hey, no problem. It's all good, man. You got it. That's going to be my response every time. And then situation number one comes up. And maybe you practice this a few times. I do this with my daughter all the time. Maybe you practice it a few times with a friend, you guys busting up, laughing, whatever, but that you're still practicing. So say it comes up and you don't do anything you practiced, but still you flagged your brain like, oh shit, I fucked up. I intended to do this and I did this. What happened? That's reflection. It didn't give myself enough time. Stimulus and response was too short. And then that's when you start going through all your training. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do next time to get inside my tunnel before this. You're constantly tweaking, fine tuning. You're becoming a scientist to yourself. And that's the most beautiful part about like this game that you guys are playing, is because you're not on autopilot. Just a robot programmed to wherever the outside world programs you. Once you take this leap, you realize, damn, this is a complex machine inside of here. And there's a lot of nuances, details, things that I completely didn't know about or haven't figured out yet. Like, and so it may take years. Me and Jordan be having these conversations all the time. If it was that easy, one conversation, we're done. You got it, right? No, it's just hella hard. It takes time to, oh shit, I sure did do that, huh? Because your brain is telling you did the right thing based on the programming that you're already in. So think about a computer program. If you input the wrong input into a computer program, can you convince it at any point that it's wrong and you're right? It don't even have the logic to even listen to what the fuck you talking about. It has its programming and that's it. So it says syntax error. I'm dating myself. It probably don't even say syntax error no more. Syntax error, does not compute, does not exist, whatever it is. It's saying, if you're not doing this, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. That's how we work too. So if I say, hey, you got this victim mentality going, you don't have enough radical responsibility, your brain is like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't. Mm-hmm. So repetition will start creating new grooves into your brain and mind. Repetition starts, it's almost like a record player. Think about a record, the old school record, where the music you can listen to comes from grooves inside of rubber, plastic, whatever that is. And the tiniest of metal that just rolls over it makes a sound. And if you were ever in my era, if you scratched the record, you probably got your ass whooped. But not only after that, that record never played again the same, because as soon as it got to that scratch, it would divert to that scratch. And it won't play through anymore. Nothing you can do. That's what we can do too. When you reprogram yourself, you're re-etching into your mind a new pattern repetition goes deeper, repetition. And over time, that's the new pattern. You say, man, don't you want to smoke no more? Not really. Not really. It smelled good though. Shit. But I'm good. That's how it happens. Next slide.
Nature and conflict. Your natural impulses crave ease, approval, and comfort. Success demands delay, discipline, and confrontation.
Okay. So, this is that real. Our natural impulses crave ease. Meaning, it's not unnatural for us to want shit to be easy. It's not unnatural. We also crave approval naturally. We want people to like us, tell us good job, tell us what we did was good, say we fly, whatever. We want approval naturally. And we naturally seek comfort. It's in our nature, which is completely counterintuitive to what success demands. Success needs delay, discipline, and confrontation. Those are the things that success needs. And if you hate waiting and you're impatient, and you're undisciplined as hell, you don't know how to say no to yourself. You don't know how to say no to yourself. And when problems arise, your flight kicks in. You run. You don't want to address them. There's no success there for you. You over here, success over here. You got to lock yourself in a room and pull out ease, approval, and comfort and say, look, I'm walking out of here. Only one is walking out of here alive, not y'all. Have that conversation with yourself. And from now on, I'm going to learn, I'm going to repeat, I'm going to drive into my conscious mind and my subconscious mind that delay, discipline, and confrontation are the best things for me and my success. Keep going.
Until your habits are reprogrammed, your nature will keep violating your goals. Discipline feels like punishment until your results rewire your reward system.
There's no other way. Unless you win the lottery. If you win the lottery, man, that's fire. But you have to get to the point to where discipline stops feeling like punishment. And it starts feeling like dollar signs. To me, discipline is dollar signs to me. Cutting shit off, dollar signs.
That's true.
So, I'm not gonna say that. That's nasty. Let's go to the next slide.
Instructions. Write one natural habit that keeps sabotaging your success. Example, procrastination, pride, or conflict.
Okay, I want you guys right now to write down. You all know. You know what it is. Just write it down. You got one habit that's part of your nature that you think keeps sabotaging your success. One thing. Write it down. I was about to say, when y'all was young, ain't no kids here. When I was little, some of y'all didn't like getting whoopings and spankings. But as adults, some of y'all don't mind.
Ooh.
That means you was reprogrammed. Write it down.
You understand me?
Everybody got it? Anybody want to share? Anybody confident enough to share? It's good for the class. It's good for the class. Shakina?
I shared mine, but mine's conflict.
Conflict. What does it mean?
Yeah, just like my comfort zone is battle. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, you want to fight? Let's go. Like that's just like my default setting. And so like when which is funny because I'm like, I'm hearing the class. My intellectual brain is hearing the class, right? So like two things can be true. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You can still catch me outside though. So it's just like there's these two currents flowing and I'm like, okay, but we're choosing success and depending upon, how much access I give to what part of the brain is the outcome. And I'm realizing that that's sabotaging me, but yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you. Right here. Press that button. That hoodie clean, by the way.
I appreciate it. I would say, I said being unorganized and not being on top of the numbers, on top of my work, and just kind of just freestyling, getting into the work and just going. All right, this need to go. Or I just got this email and just all over the place. And so it works to an extent, but it's not scalable. And so it's one of my bad habits that is my nature. I was the kid in class that had all my papers in my backpack, no organization, folders everywhere, and I see it turning up in my business, and so it's definitely something that is sabotaging my success.
Hey, that's fire. Thank you. Yeah, and typically it's like that. You know your nature when it's something that you've been doing your whole life. Something you probably got whoopings for when you was a kid. Something you got in trouble for that you didn't want the whooping, but you can't change it because that's who you are. And you see it creeping up into your adult life, and now you see it affecting your adult life. And most of the time, I know for me anyway, my brain said, if I had this bad habit for this long, there ain't no changing it, which is a myth. In a lot of cases, it's a myth. But thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
I have a question. When you say it's a myth, is it more so like how we were talking last week about trade-offs? Is it more so that our brains are finding more value in like being right or embracing where you're at now versus uncertainty and like the potential? Like can you dig deeper into the myth part?
Well, most of the times is that you get more pleasure, meaning more reward for doing the thing than not. That's really what it breaks down to most of the time. Because what you call your nature most of the time is programming. Somebody programmed you. You can say that that's been your nature, but maybe you didn't have any consequences for not being messy when you was a kid. Imagine if you came out and you were born, and as soon as you were born, every opportunity that you had to be trained, to be organized, your parents jumped on that. 3 years old, jumped on it. You had to clean your room before you came out. You had to organize before you did this. Before you had to play, you had to organize. You got checked on. Every time you got checked on periodically by your parents, and they nudged you, course correct you into organizing when you were 3, 4, 5. Now imagine at this age now, would that even be an issue? No, it was programming. So just the way you were programmed into it, with enough desire, enough purpose, you can program out of it. Now, if you've been doing it a long time, it's not going to be easy. And I'm sure there's some things that are deeper than what I'm saying, but I'm talking about the rule, not the exception. Next slide.
You can't outperform your programming, only update it.
So I say that to say you can't erase. So same thing with the record. The lines that are in the record, they're in there. You can't erase those lines, but you can program over it. So it's not about going back and erasing what you've been through. It's about creating new programming. So moving forward, you move in a pathway, in a path as a different person. Doesn't mean that you forgot about that or that's not an old version of you. It is, and it's back there. And if you relax and calm and kind of quit, and you can find yourself reverting back to those old ways. But you can update your software. You can update your software. Next slide. Okay, so before we move on to this, any last questions about that? Solid online?
Let me tap in online and see. Yes. Not, well, there's a few things. So Chris had said finding connection and comfort through food, growing up, it was an acceptable sin, working on reprogramming.
That's what a lot of us.
There was a few comments from Vero, but I'm trying to see if there was a question.
She said hers was defensive talking back.
Okay.
Vero said, hey, I appreciate you for admitting that. Defensive talking back. That's a lot of, especially in this game that we play. Defensiveness is, man, that's one of our protectors. That's our main protector. We won't even listen. We won't listen to accept or absorb what you're saying. We're going to listen for a comeback. That's part of defensiveness. Learning how to take deep breaths when somebody's saying something and just listen and to accept what someone's saying and to really understand. That's something that you have to work hard to reprogram, but it's possible. All right. So now we're going to talk about culture, and we'll see why and how that correlates to culture, rules, laws again. Let's go.
Culture supersedes rules. When belief is strong, rules become reminders, not restraints. A rule book can't lead people. Culture can. When a group shares a belief system and enforces it consistently, it governs itself. When that belief weakens, rules turn into paperwork.
Okay. So if you have a population of 500,000 people, say Oakland, California, how many police officers do you need to enforce the laws?
Couple hundred.
How many?
It's relative.
You know why you don't need 100,000 or even 50,000 is because when you build the culture, most of the culture follows the laws themselves. Police become reminders of the laws. Their presence become reminders of the laws. When you see red lights, it's reminders of the laws, and that triggers you and reminds you that they can be anywhere. So your culture, one, is what guides you and makes you do the right thing. And then the officers that are there are reminders, they're beacons that to uphold the law. Mm-hmm. Same thing with culture and rules. If you do it the opposite way and you just make a whole bunch of rules, but you have no culture, everybody on your squad's going to be breaking the rules. And you'll be writing you up. I'm writing you up. And all you'll do will be nitpicking, arguing, fighting about rules versus building culture. And culture is when everybody has a fundamental belief, a belief that everybody buys into. Then you guys police each other. Because at this point, culture is branding. And branding says people like us do things like this. So when you stop doing things like this, then everybody's going up saying, what you doing? That's not how people like us behave. Looking at you crazy, and you get back in line. And the more you get out of line, then they consider kicking you out the tribe or the culture. Mm-hmm. I never forget my boy Anthony, man. Like when I changed my friend group and I was trying to just do the right, be a better person. And I changed my friend group. And me and Anthony was just an overall good dude, man. Just good dude, nice. And he was a good friend, like new friend to have. And so I'm hanging with his friends and I'm new to their circle. We all walk into the bowling alley. Dude says, what you looking at, to my friend Anthony? Fuck you looking at? So I go to protect him, like what? And I like go to flex up on dude, and Anthony grab like, dude, what you doing? We don't do that type of shit. Who cares? And I was like, oh, all right. So y'all just let that shit go? Like, yeah, I don't care about that. I'm getting my hand slapped for not behaving in the new culture because I was programmed in a different culture. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? So that's how so if you're in a situation where you're building a team in business, in family, in anywhere, you start with culture, not rules. Rules are just beacons to remind people what the culture is. Culture is shared belief and getting so and ingraining that shared belief so deep into the culture that everyone polices themselves. I'm having to learn this because my headquarters is in Oakland, and we have an annex office that we're building out in Walnut Creek. So I'm having to spend months. This is my second or third month in Walnut Creek, not in my not in my headquarters. So how is my team? How strong is the culture in Oakland to where my team is running smoothly without me? Does it fall off? Do motherfuckers be kicking it now that I'm not in the office? Do they take liberties? Are they ruder to each other? Are they nicer to each other? Or like, what's the dynamic when I'm not there? Mm-hmm. That gives me a true indication of what culture is like. Same thing at the new office where I'm at. They didn't have culture. So I sit there and watch, man, how do you guys, like, it's just all just paycheck, huh? This shit's crazy. Backbiting. So culture has to be established in order for, like, if you're in an environment and you're in a leader environment, and if you turn your back, it's chaos, and you turn back and it's back cool, you're overemphasizing rules and not emphasizing enough culture. See what I'm saying? Super, super, super important. This shit don't lie. You know how they say the ball don't lie? This doesn't lie. Mm-hmm. Because you know either when you're not around what your true culture is. Next slide.
Values, culture, rules, behavior. When belief is strong, rules become reminders, not restraints. A rule book can't lead people. Culture
A
can.
rule book can't lead people. Culture can. When the culture is strong, rules is just reminders. They're just beacons. Oh yeah. But the culture, the values, what you stand for, what you're about, that is how you run any organization. People like us do things like this. So if somebody's not doing things like this, that's why I might get canceled for this. Probably will. Who gives a fuck? I watched a lot of Karen videos just like y'all did. And some of that, there's times where I was like, man, that's crazy. But a lot of those, I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them. What you gonna do? Cancel me. I don't care. I'm not mad at them. If I don't recognize you in my neighborhood and you look kind of suspicious to me, I'm gonna ask you, hey, you good, bro? Because my culture is my neighborhood. My neighbor to the left and to the right of me, we got a pact that if anything suspicious happens, we got each other's back. Across from me, we got each other's back. I wave to these people every day. I wave hi to them. All of our kids play. They run around on the street together. Like, how can you fathom that that's not a thing? I'm sorry. Some of y'all tripping. So if somebody's wandering through the neighborhood that none of us have never seen before, can I help you? I'm not mad at them. Hey, if I'm your neighbor and you're like that, I'm glad I got you. Thank you. Cause you're gonna go hard because you this frail looking white dude and I whoop your ass, but you have enough courage to still come out and question me. I fuck with you as my neighbor. But sometimes we get caught in the other shit. Cause it's a culture, it's a neighborhood, it's a community, yes. So I know it sounds weird and this is new and abstract, but that's why you see a lot of male Karen shit in neighborhoods, because all they're doing is they're adhering to the culture of their neighborhood. And once you believe in the culture of your neighborhood, you're willing to do some shit for it. I mean, if any of you guys were a security guard at Walmart and you were in the theft department and you saw somebody just booking out the store with hella shit, would you tackle them? Would you grab them? Would you get in front of them? Or you like, hey, I don't get paid enough to do that?
That part.
Depending on the store, some people's values and culture, they love that place. They love that place. And they're willing to do whatever for that place. So remember that. Values and culture supersedes rules. And then it governs it. Most of the time you govern itself, and now all you have to do is just maintain it. And when some outliers come in and they're not adjusting to the culture, you pluck them out. You get them out of there. Or if you see some starting to be cancerous towards the culture and they're feeding the culture negativity, you get them out of there. You clean it up. Because you have to maintain the culture. You have to consistently repeat and remind the values. If you see things going down or behavior going down or emotions going down or conflict, you're constantly working on the culture. Not as much the rules, the culture. That makes sense? Next slide.
The culture gap. When culture is unclear, every rule becomes a negotiation. Employees argue about enforcement, leaders lose credibility, and momentum dies. Culture is clarity. It defines why the rules exist.
So remember this: when you're arguing about a rule and that person wants to get you on a technicality, culture's fucked up. Technicality. Well, technically I didn't do. Well, technically I wasn't. There's a cultural gap there. You know what it is. You know what being on time means. You know what giving your all is. You know what working together is. You know what clear communication is. Like, you know what those things are. But if you're in constant battles about technicalities and technically this and technically that, you have a culture problem. Make sense? Keep going.
That's the next slide, right? Yeah. Think of one rule you've seen broken repeatedly. What missing value or virtue made it hard to enforce? Discuss the answers.
Okay, first one I want to ask Jordan. What rule have you seen broken repeatedly in our office? And what missing value or virtue made it hard to enforce? I want to learn some shit in this moment.
Will playing right and wrong be a rule? Yeah, that's been one of those things that's been repeatedly broken.
In our office?
Yeah.
And what missing virtue do you think it is that makes it hard to enforce?
I don't know. So I'm thinking about like the consequences. Like, we don't really got too many consequences besides you jumping in and saving the day. I mean, that could be a consequence in itself. You know, if we go back and forth, we know that eventually, 10 minutes in, you're going to jump in. So we really have no incentive in coming to a common ground.
That's good. That's good information to know. Anybody else? Any rule. It could be a family rule. It can be a Shakina?
This is a rule I break, but not for bad reasons.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sure.
But shut up, because you do it too, because I got it from you. Like parking, like, so like when there's like when I go to public spaces and if I see a whole bunch of broken cars, like I will not park my nice car in a tight space. So if there's like hella small spaces, I will like intentionally take 2 spaces because I don't want somebody to hit my car. But it's not because I'm like, I'm about to be a ass and do this.
You're one of them.
I am one of them because I don't want to have to come and drop you for hitting my car. So I'd rather just take up 2 spaces and have to get physical.
That's what's up. I like that.
Oh, I don't take 2 parking spaces.
Anybody else? That's
I can share. I think a lot of people. So this is the getting at entropy in Black communities, and this is one of the ways you can see cultural deterioration. People running stop signs. East Oakland, I don't think stop signs and stoplights even matter. Mm-hmm. And I think what virtue they're missing is value. They don't have value. They don't see the value of rules.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Next slide.
The virtue game. Virtue plus consistency plus enforcement equals culture. Culture. Oh, keep going.
Keep going. Sorry.
And culture isn't built by slogans. It's built by repetition and consequences. Every day, you either confirm or contradict what your organization claims to value. The moment you stop enforcing virtue, the culture starts eroding.
How many? Who has more than 2 tickets? Who's got more than 2 tickets?
In lifetime or this year?
Lifetime car.
Oh, lifetime.
Who got more than 3? Anybody got more than 4 tickets in their lifetime? How about more than 5?
No.
5 tickets getting pulled over.
Oh, I'm
Okay,
done.
pulled over?
I'm 2.
Yeah, I got 2.
Oh, okay. Who has gotten pulled over and gotten citations from police officers more than 2?
I'm 2.
More than 3? More than 3? 2 people more than 4?
Damn, Josh.
So 90% of this room, except Josh, it took you 3 times at the most to get citations from police officers to be virtuous on the road. See what I'm saying? It only took you 3 tickets to now you're an angel on the road. You don't get tickets. You haven't got tickets. When's the last time you got a ticket? Years? Last week? Her. Because consistency plus enforcement will create the culture and create virtue. Some of us are virtuous not because we're angels, it's because we've been programmed virtue in a particular area. That's it. If given an opportunity to do hood rat shit, we would do it if there were no consequences.
Probably true.
For a lot of people. So if you want to build culture, consistency, and enforcement. So I just learned something from Jordan. So in our staff, right and wrong has been an issue. We've been working on right and wrong a lot. And so I sit back and let them battle it out and hoping somebody says, I don't want to play right and wrong. Let's get to a solution. So then I jump in and say, come on now. We're playing right and wrong. You playing right and wrong, you playing right and wrong. Let's get to a solution. I got to take a different approach because we've been playing this game for a year. Right? And the feel of there's no enforcement. I just fix it. So you can't, again, we're human animals. So you can't usurp this. Consistency plus enforcement equals culture. And now you become virtuous. A lot of you guys, I'll say this too, is that a lot of y'all are good Christians not because it's in you. You don't want to go to hell. Not because you're a good person. God created you and you're like, God, I'm going to give everything back because you created me, God, and I love you. It's they put hell in front of you and you don't want to go. What if hell wasn't an option at all? And just doing the right thing because God created you. Would you still be as virtuous? No. You got to ask that question. Keep being honest with each other. Being honest. So we're going to continue on next week. Continue this rules, laws, and culture. And I'll see you next week. Oh, you got one question before wait, what?
I think I understand obviously the consistency and the enforcement, but I'm just trying to wrap my mind around what does it look like to establish virtues, and what are some examples of that that you could, that will create the culture that is a healthy culture as well.
Well, virtues. You establish the virtues first. So if you want your people to work hard or to do their best, you have to establish what that is defined as. You got to define it by your actions and then by your communication. So virtues they're subjective, meaning a virtue may be everybody has to come in with creased pants, and whoever doesn't come in with creased pants, they're outsiders. And then what happens is people start playing virtue games. They'll start competing on who pants can be the crease the best. And if there's a reward system for who has the best creases, then that's how you play the virtue game in that regard. That's how status games are built everywhere. Everywhere. And so virtue is man-made, it's created. We make it up. And you make the rules within your organization to be able to establish the status game. And we'll talk more about it next week too. All right.
One of the things I would add. Real quick. She trying to turn the lights out for real. So she was Teddy Pendergrass. Okay, somebody help her out, please. She think this is KBLX late night. Okay, here you go, cool. Okay, somebody help her out. Thank you. Okay. You know how you can make virtues work better? It's a philosophical journey. Virtues are tied. You can have a selfish relationship with virtues. You can think beyond the moment and ask yourself, for example, one of the things I remember a long time, this is one of me and Pastor Chris's early conversations, like I don't like how Christians' relationship to morality is external, it's not internalized. So what's the value of you not doing this? What's the cost of you doing that, right? What makes virtues actually work and carry strength is when you can personalize the return of your investment. So this class is based on the virtue of giving back to my community. But what you'll realize that what's programmed into my human mind is that if I achieve success and don't share with somebody, success is not a goal. It's the privileges that success yields you that is the goal. And part of the real goal is your relationship with other human beings. So if I gain wealth and I'm not able to help others or share with others, then something about me something's missing in me. What could please me as a human being is serving others. Like that's almost like programmed into all of our minds. We are most happy when we're serving others. And so it's virtuous for me to say I'm gonna create a program where I'm going to sacrifice a certain amount of my time and efforts to help my community. That virtue wouldn't work so well if my framing was, I gotta do this class to give back so people don't think I don't give a shit about black people. that's you see what I'm saying? Like if I just can see how it relates to benefits me as opposed to externally programming it, then virtues become something that you can own. When you see communities, for example, when you ask a question about police officers, do you know before the crack era, cities like LA may only have 5 police total on the streets at one time? Because the culture was so strong before the crack era in the black community, we didn't have those kind of problems. Right? If you don't believe me, go to a strong white community right now that has not been hit by fentanyl or crack. And go to Walnut Creek. And you will starve your attention to find police officers. You'll see them every purple moon, but you don't see like you see them in Oakland or you see them in some of the cities where there's a collapse. Well, talk to the homeowners in Walnut Creek. And what they would express to you is these characteristics of culture and value on what they have, and they understand what it takes to keep it. They understand the ecosystem that they exist in. They understand. So, for example, my partner who lives in Walnut Creek he bought a couple of pieces of property in Walnut Creek. You're not even allowed to park in front of his house. When you go to somebody's house, there's a designated area for you to park over here, or you have to park in the driveway, or there's no parking at all. But there's no streets, there's no cars on the streets. So you're walking down the street with your kid, it's just the cleanest street you've ever seen in your life. So they can easily tie that connection. Well, to our people, quite often, a lot of reasons for distortions, and it's not judgmental. I don't ever want to judge our people as being bad. That's a dangerous path to take. But there's a lot of distortions. So a lot of times, we don't see that not throwing the garbage outside the car helps with transforming our communities. The black communities most of the hood in Oakland hood, Richmond hood is prime real estate. But we're not making that connection between how we act and how we live. And so in the end, somebody from the outside can say, well, damn, y'all shitting where you eat. We lack that connection. So it's hard to build virtues when you don't see those connections. And here's the funny part about that connection. If I ask you about your grade school, your junior high, your high school, were you ever taught that civic connection? Most of us wasn't, right? So at this point, we're just having these emotional expressions of defense, anger, frustration, poverty, scarcity, all these different things that goes along with our history. And as it compounds and expands and grows, and then also one of the biggest explosion in that pool was family destruction. And what happened, if you watch Crack Era, we watched families just die right in front of us, right? And then from family destruction in our community, you're starting to see it now in the white community with fentanyl. It's just destroying families. And so, and a lot of times, a lot of those virtues are transferred through family. But when family fall apart, how are you going to tell this young brother on the streets about these virtues when he never had a family? He's been in full survival mode. He's going with this. So it's like, so virtues is a very complex thing. It has to be incentivized. And people have to see the connection, but it has to be personal ownership. And what happens a lot of times around virtues is that it's dangerous when virtues is this external thing that you just do for a reward, as opposed to a personal return on your investment. Same thing with morals. If your morals is tied to a reward as opposed to a return on your investment, you don't have a good relationship with morals. So, all right, I'm getting to a fun subject tonight. Shakina, you're going to do a lot of reading tonight. You're going to pass your reading class test or something. What's that class test you take?
I'm dyslexic.
We're going to find out tonight. So we're going to get into some really strong abstract subject. And the subject is called depreciation. Depreciation is a subject that is quite often understood from a concrete side, poorly understood from an abstract side. Now, remember, concrete and abstract are two different ways of looking at the same problem, right? Concrete is what do you see? Abstract is what don't you see? I would argue that many of us need to develop a stronger abstract muscle with depreciation. If we don't develop that strong abstract muscle of depreciation, then depreciation will feel like a black swan, meaning it came from nowhere. It was always approaching. It had signs of its arrival, but you didn't have the right type of mindset and awareness to address it. So I'm going to go through this depreciation, and this is going to change your end of the year report and that bullshit you tell yourself. So, Shakina, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's do this.
Depreciation. What is depreciation and why it matters? Depreciation is the gradual loss and value of your business assets, equipment, computers, vehicles, cameras, etc. Over time, due to using and aging, it represents the wear and tear on assets that still have to be replaced or upgraded later.
Okay, so first of all, that's very concrete. Pretty easy to understand, right? Here's a problem with that concrete idea. I'm going to show you how, if you come from scarcity, poverty, if you come from a place where you just haven't had a strong relationship with numbers, I'm going to show you a huge distortion. Next line.
Even though depreciation.
Did you just turn depreciation to a Spanish word? To depreciation? See,
I had to.
By the way, I speak no Spanish. It's a waste of y'all time that you try to give me the proper pronunciation. Go ahead. Go ahead. Depreciation. Whatever. Go ahead.
Okay. Even though depreciation isn't a cash expense in the present, it reflects a very real cost, the declining value of the tools that keeps your business running. Example,
going.
if your studio camera setup costs $20,000 and has a 5-year lifespan, that's $4,000 a year in depreciation. You may not spend that $4,000 this year, but you're using up that much of your equipment's life.
Do you guys get that? Anybody have any confusion with that? So somebody tell me what that means before I go forward. Go ahead.
So, for example, you're taking the baseline value of whatever your raw costs are, and then you're taking into consideration how frequently you have to replace it. And then based on the amount of time that elapses, that's what it costs you to own that thing before replacing it.
So if you may, so now what happens for those of us who come from scarcity, don't break my shit?
Then they don't understand the trade-off, because even if you're don't break your shit, you still have to replace it.
So officially, if you decide to sell your equipment in your gym tomorrow, is it worth the value you purchased?
Absolutely not.
Because what has happened?
It's depreciated.
Right. So every time somebody touched your equipment in your gym, it's under natural depreciation, right?
Yes.
So if you fall in love with it, as we do with our home shit, this is important. A lot of us fall in love with shit like we bought this item we really love, and we're protective of it and we value it. But once it goes into business, it's in a depreciation cycle. So it doesn't hold the same wealth and value. Even when you buy shit, this is very important. This is a lot of new businesses don't know this. When you buy equipment, are you buying equipment that can handle natural depreciation? Or are you buying equipment that you really, really like, is a good price, but it has a shorter window of depreciation? So when you think you're saving money, you're actually spending more money. Mm-hmm. Guys get that? So like, for example, let's say a piece of equipment costs 10 G's that's highly valuable that will last 5 years. But you see this other equipment that seems like it does all the same stuff, but you don't realize the depreciation cycle is only 7 years. So what happens is, let's say it goes out in 5 years and you buy it twice within a 5 year and 10-year span, you just spent 14 grand as opposed to 10 grand. You see where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. These are hidden, powerful ass costs that will feel like, what the hell is happening? Now, if you're managing your company, are you looking at all your equipment under a depreciation lens? Are you going, this is depreciating, this is going to be replaced next year? It may look perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. It may be working absolutely well. But think about the cost of disruptions. What happens when that equipment or that equipment or that technology or that computer crashes in the middle of a big project? Did you break your depreciation schedule because you thought, oh, it still works, this computer's still good, this desk is still good, that chair is still good? Or did you say, yo, how many years has it been? Let's get rid of that. But it looks perfectly fine. I understand. But in order to reduce disruption, I must respect depreciation. You guys get going with this. This is gonna get more and more complex because there's some shit up in here. All right, cool. Next slide.
The illusion of profit without depreciation. When you look at profit without factoring in depreciation, your business may appear healthier than it really is. Let's say you earned $120,000 in revenue. Mm-hmm. You spent $80,000 in operating expenses. Mm-hmm. Your profit looks like $40,000.
So I mean, you guys have seen that, right? So you say, oh, I spent $80,000. I made $40,000 this year. Good year. Now, keep going.
But if your assets depreciated by $10,000 that year, your true economic profit is closer to $30,000. That's the amount you'd have left after setting aside funds to replace your equipment when it wears out. Ignoring depreciation makes your business look richer today but poorer tomorrow, because you'll eventually need to reinvest to stay operational.
Keyword was invest. You know, you may have ever said, okay, so a long time ago, this is when I think I had only $300,000. And my boy's like, oh, you made $300,000 this year? I was like, yeah, man, things are going good. He's like, man, you should get into some stocks. I mean, if you got $300,000 on the side, you should drop this in stocks. Or game theory. Here's an important rule around game theory. People present to me always opportunities to make a lot of money. But if that's not my game, I don't play it. Be very clear. If that's not your game, don't fucking play it. Don't think profit translates to every profit has a different game. And just because there's an opportunity open, if you don't play that game, remember there's competition, them sharks will eat your money alive. That's number one. But he came to me, he says, no, why don't you just make this investment in these stocks? I'm making crazy cash. It's not my game. I said, but my response was him was like, no, I need to invest in my business. And I said that to a group of people before. They're like, what do you mean invest in your business, right? What you don't understand when we say invest in your business is two things. One is depreciation and then investment for advantage, right? To accelerate growth. And so if I made $300,000 that year, I really made about $250,000 a year. Because I already knew in my mind that 50 grand. Let me tell you how you guys starve your investments and you starve your business. Is because you get so emotionally caught up in that 40 grand, let's say it's 400 grand, let's say it's 4 million. You got up in that number and you're not thinking about the invisible investments and returns that need to go back into your business. So you will spin into that 40,000 as if you have 40,000 when you really only had 30,000. So your brain has to say, when you make a certain amount of money, your brain has to go from hooray, I made money, I'm going to the bank. You don't have a job, people. So when you have a job, you got to check, you go do the fuck you want to do. When you run a business, you go, hooray, I made some money. Now, what is the cost of my reinvestment? Because by default, if you don't reinvest, have you ever seen a business open up that looks really, really nice? And by 7 years into that business, you're like, damn, they just look tired. Because whoever's leading that company have been neglecting the depreciation. This is important. This is why, like, I went to a wedding of family member who was a beautiful, beautiful wedding. I mean, the love was like, it's nice to see two people who really like equally love each other, not one feel like it's a contract. And I said, I usually don't fuck with weddings. She said, what? I said, she don't fuck with weddings. She said, well, I usually celebrate 10 years in the marriage. She said, why? I said, because most people don't make it 10 years. And a lot of weddings is people going to these weddings and they don't see the natural the depreciation challenges that's going to happen. The navigation challenge is going to happen. And the excitement, they think the excitement represents 10 years. But little do they know that after that wedding, the game begins. And as those lenses become clear and no longer rose colored, can you navigate those challenges? What happens with businesses where we fuck up is we get excited on openings, but we don't have the same momentum towards growth, expanding, and improving, or even maintaining a certain type of experience. And experience means that everything about your business on day one will, at some point within the next 5 to 10 years, be gone. There is no loyalty to like this window, this door, these chairs, these tile, this furniture, this computer, this desk, these employees. Some employees depreciate. And some of y'all be like, but I love them and they were here from the beginning. Okay. I don't understand. You don't understand depreciation. Some people run courses in the business. Next slide.
Reinvestment, the hidden reality behind profit. Smart entrepreneurs don't see depreciation as a loss. They see it as a signal for reinvestment.
Pause. That is the most powerful shit ever. Depreciation is a signal for reinvestment into your business. See, it's an investment. You're not spending. Remember I said a long time ago, when you put money in your business, you're not spending money, you're investing money. Oh, that's going to cost me a lot. No. That means it's a strong investment into your business. Now, if you don't feel that the return is not there, you feel like you just a raggedy ass business. Yeah, I wouldn't go out and spend $100,000 on my business if it's raggedy. Maybe I got some other issues. But if you stop seeing depreciation as a loss and see it as an opportunity for reinvestment, this is kind of like an elementary process, a concrete elementary process of growing your business. A lot of you guys, how often do you think people should come to me and say, I'm growing my business, and they're talking about reinvesting in depreciation. This rarely happens. No one even knows how to use this fucking language of thought. When I look at 510 Media, if you've been watching me since day one, I was 3 years, I'm changing the office out. I'm already, every year I have planned, this gotta go, that's not gonna make it. Even, I'm gonna get deeper as we get to the end of this. Keep going.
Depreciation tells you part of this year's income must be reserved or replace or upgrade assets so the business can keep producing value.
There you go. So real quick. So because you're in a competitive game, if you're not using depreciation for opportunities to reinvest, you're always slipping. You're depreciating in competitive edge. I don't give a fuck who. Look, I'm sorry, people. Let me say this to you. This might hurt some of you guys' feeling. You are animals in passing. You're not. The world is not going to bend to you. It ain't going to stop for you. It didn't start when you arrive. You are here to pass a baton. So a lot of times you may peak at some point and the world is looking at you like, oh my God, you are fabulous. But if you don't understand the game you in and how to reinvest in that game, think about basketball players who play basketball and they knew they were good, but the whole time they were taking all their money making smart investments. There was one dude who played basketball in the 70s. I think he's one of the second richest people in the NBA, or third richest people in the NBA. And he made all this money from when he was making like $117,000 a year. He poured that money into fast foods. So then he owns so many Carl's Juniors all over the United States from his investments, right? Because he understood that his fame was going to depreciate. And I heard another basketball player say when he got his first check for like $20 million, he thought this is going to last forever. Rappers have said this. I thought it's going to last forever. Now realizing you're in a cycle of depreciation by default. So I don't give a fuck how smart you were, how much they loved you when you first opened your business, how many people were excited. Everything around you is depreciating. And you can stay in the game, but you got to see the opportunities for investment. Keep going.
When you reinvest in your tools, new cameras, software, vehicles, or office build-outs, you're not losing money. You're preserving capability.
Ooh, you hear that? You're not losing money. You're preserving capabilities to compete. If you stop investing, you're losing capability. Meaning that you could work hella hard, believe in yourself, did all your self-work, I am somebody, sound like Jesse Jackson every 5 minutes, and broke. Because you didn't understand the rules of depreciation. Keep going.
Failing to reinvest turns depreciation into deterioration. Your business loses competitiveness and efficiency over time.
Efficiency. So, for example, one of the ways you learn efficiency is that, let's say whatever you're doing right now to run your business, if it's, let's say you're using AI right now, in 10 years, if you still use that same technique, you're already out the game. Everything needs to be analyzed for depreciation. You're constantly reinventing yourself. This is why having even a personal personality, like I don't like change, and I don't like people trying to tell me what to do, I don't like feedback. No, you got to be in a constant motion of change and reinvestment. Otherwise, even you are depreciating. When I tell entrepreneurs, hey, study, you think that degree didn't depreciate already? You don't think that reading that book you read 5 years ago is not depreciating? The book you just finished last night, next week is already depreciating. So that means that if you want for you to stay competitive, if you don't have it, I've been an entrepreneur this weekend, and he's telling them about our class. And I said, really, our classes? I said, the word class sucks because it's not a class. It's really a place for an entrepreneur to keep their muscles strong and grow their muscles. Their mental muscles have to be grown to do this shit. I said, this shit is not about what you know. It's about how strong that muscle is to pull that information up when you need it. The worst thing in the world is to be a master hindsight analysis. Like when you can be like, I should have did. That's a fucked up place to be in. You want to be in a space where, like, if somebody said something to you, instead of you cussing them out, you can actually catch yourself and be like, hey, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, whoa, did you just time that moment? As opposed to cuss about, go home, I could have told them, I could have asked them what they meant by that. After I told them they were a motherfucker, I said, what do you mean by that? It doesn't translate. It just does the same thing. All right, let's keep going.
Why?
Yeah.
Why ignoring depreciation distorts decision making.
This is fire.
Looking at profit without depreciation can distort owner income expectations. You may withdraw too much cash, leaving the business underfunded.
So there you go. You get underfunded because you're pulling out too much money. You're even gambling with money. You're moving your money around. You don't realize your business is starving. But it's working. No. You're missing the point. You're not as efficient as you could be. Have you guys ever bought new equipment and say, God damn, this changed everything? But you don't realize that if you're starving, you won't even, okay, think about before you bought that equipment, you were just working and things was working. Orders coming in, you satisfying orders. Your services going out and so satisfying service promises. But you don't realize the world's moving and they're making those investments. And all of a sudden you think you're working hard and then clients just slowly start disappearing because the costs come down, the speed changes, the service communication changes. All these elements are changing around you and you won't see it until, hey man, anybody called us in about a month or two. What's going on? You starved your business. In order for your business to be, this is one of the best businesses. This is one of the best options for the person seeking your services or your products. You have to invest to say, I am the best service and option. Not, I believe in my head, I'm so virtuous that I am the best business because I believe that, but you're not making investments like that. Keep going.
Pricing strategy. You might underprice your services because your costs look lower than they are.
So this is powerful. If you saw the cost of reinvestment, it would adjust all your numbers. Because you don't see, it might only be like $2 or $3, $5, $10, $20. But you don't know to even adjust your numbers because you don't see the cost of depreciation. So when you say how much should you charge somebody, it should automatically assume depreciation. Keep going.
Valuation and scaling. Investors or lenders see a misleading financial picture if assets aren't properly depreciated.
So what happens is a lot of times when somebody's trying to talk to you about investing in a business, if you're not showing proper awareness of depreciation, they realize you don't really see your business. Somebody's investing, know that you should be able to calculate your depreciation into the value of your business and the cost of doing business. But that's not on your P&L sheets. That's not nowhere in your documents whatsoever. Obviously, you're not running your business with efficiency. Keep going.
In behavioral terms, this is a cognitive distortion called preset bias, overvaluing current profit and undervaluing future obligations.
So what can happen really easy is that you will get so caught up in your current value, your profits, that you're blinded to the long-term survival of your business. You're trying to play long-term business, but because you're blind to depreciation, you're moving with short-term gaming rhythms. You guys get that? Any questions on that? So you're making money and things feel really good and you're caught up in the thick of things and you're doing this work and you're getting things happening, customers calling you back and things are happening, you're answering phone calls, and 3 years is slipping. You ain't bought one more computer, you ain't bought another desk, you ain't bought a chair, you ain't bought shit. Because in your mind, if it's working, why change anything? Let's just keep rolling. Not realizing that no. I'm competing also with internal depreciation, which is I'm never going to be good enough. There ain't no such thing in business. All this, am I good enough? In business, no, you're not. Shut the fuck up. Because it's competition. It's not about you. It's not personal. Personal, that's a different conversation. In business, your business is not good enough. It's got to constantly improve, otherwise competition will take your place. Nobody fucks with you like that. Nobody loves you in this game. People love their own pockets. They love their services. They love what they want. People are not loyal to bad ideas and bad services. And so a lot of times you can get so caught up in but this worked. Last year we had all these customers who loved us. Short-term thinking. Long-term thinking is, but will they stay with us? So now I need to make sure that I keep my rhythm of reinvestment up and be aware of natural depreciation. Also, looking at what are the trends in my industry? What software is everybody using right now? Am I using software? Am I still on Excel and Photoshop? And motherfuckers are using AI software editing? Or are they sending this shit to India? Like, what am I doing here? You know, going like you got to be on top of that, not let your comfort zone control your reinvestment in your business or your scarcity. Your scarcity. This is for a lot of us who suffer from scarcity. You can be in a situation where you've been really good at saving money and you came from poverty and you've been broke before, or you was a broke college student and that shit felt like a mug. And so now you're really smart with your savings, but you know you're over leveraging savings over reinvestment in your own business. Go ahead, Fern.
I have a question about well, I don't even know if it's a question or not, but I'm trying to formulate an understanding around not necessarily tangible items, but intangible.
Oh, we get there. We're going to get there.
Okay.
We're going there. We're going there. All right. Next slide.
The Entrepreneur's Translation. Profit is not what's left after expenses.
So that's real quick. Let's just say real quick. Lock that in your brain. Profit is not what's left after your expenses. Profit is not what is left after your expenses. Lock that into your brain. You don't have a job. Profit is not what is left after your expenses. This is so critical because trust me, look, I had to learn that lesson quick. Hey man, you made $1 million this year? No, I didn't. I gotta make sure these other numbers, and once you cover all those other numbers, it's business sometimes about taking 2 steps forwards and 1 step backwards. Some of y'all think you take 2 steps forward, you took 2 steps forward. Nope. You took 2 steps forward, and somewhere the expense is about to come up, and you got to go 1 step backwards. This is important. Keep going.
It's what's left after sustainability. Depreciation is the bridge between today's performance and tomorrow's readiness.
Is that fire? Depreciation is the difference between today's performance and tomorrow's readiness. Are you ready for tomorrow? Have you invested? Are you ready for tomorrow? You see how you can get caught up today's performance and that's all you think about is today's performance, and you're really about improving in performance and you're trying to get your business to perform well, and so you made all this money investment in performance and you underinvested in tomorrow's readiness. Isn't that cold? I mean, how do you understand that this is something we don't even talk about in our communities or in business? A lot of people don't even think about depreciation. Is if you're reinvesting in your business because of depreciation, you're staying ready for whatever may come tomorrow. Because here's the thing about tomorrow. Tomorrow is absolutely random. You don't control tomorrow. So if you move to tomorrow assuming that your acts of today is guaranteed an outcome for tomorrow, that's your delusion that has nothing to do with reality that you exist in. The reality about reality is that as you're working on your business, what you don't realize is that by default, it's almost like, I remember when I bought my first house, I used to hate the rain. Because this shit would sometimes be so hard, cause the water to raise. Now I got to get the water pumped out of my basement. It was just, but it was not the rain fault. I didn't have any readiness. The future can feel really fucked up in business because you didn't develop your readiness. So why is this so important? Depreciation is the bridge between today's performance and tomorrow's readiness. You could be doing really, really well today. You have optimized your business. The shit is running like a motherfucking Swiss watch. But as the days move forward, all of a sudden you're not ready for the competition, for changes, for politics, for even shifts in business. I mean that you start off in this business and then a big trend happened where all the money shifted over here, but you haven't made enough investments to make the shift with the trend. You starved your readiness to compete for the future because you're moving in this space of today's optimization, not realizing that you not only as an entrepreneur are required to invest in today, but you're also required to get ready for tomorrow. You see that difference? And you think this is a light conversation? I promise you, this shit is about as normal as it could come. A lot of us don't get this because especially when you go from job to entrepreneurship, that just doesn't click automatically.
There's another issue in this is having the resources when you make a bad investment. So when you
Yes.
you invest in one
Well
thing
said.
for reinvestment, which you find out is a bad decision. This is where I'm at now. And you don't have enough reserves to cover that decision that was supposed to be all right, that was supposed to be good, that was supposed to do what it was supposed to do. But then everything that can happen kind of does happen, that whole black swan kind of thing, and you're over leveraged in one area. You didn't have the that barbell kind of backing, and now you like, okay, we gonna have to figure this shit out. But it's because you've reinvested, and you have to put in that contingency around a bad decision as well. That's what.
So that's okay. Yes, let me tell you why that's so powerful. But it's not the exact same as depreciation, but it is a buffer, a necessary buffer. Do you realize that most of the things you start with your business, a lot of them are not going to work? You make a lot of investments, buy a lot of equipment, buy a lot of ideas, try new services, new software, hire some people. A lot of shit just doesn't work. You can't sit around and be like, oh, it's a reflection of my stupidity. No, that's called doing business. Businesses spend a lot of money on a lot of shit that don't work because that's called being curious and innovating. And you don't innovate by being perfect or have this rigid relationship with, you got to do it right. And if it doesn't do it right, something's wrong with me. Innovation is saying, I'm going to try a lot of shit that ain't going to work, from investments to new equipment to new employees. I've hired people and fired them within 3 months. Thought this is going to be great. And it's like, nah, it's not going to work. Or I bought this software, 20 grand. It's going to work. New software comes along and be like, free. Oh, man, get rid of this shit. Or everyone uses this software and nobody on my team opens the software ever. Dump it. Or we're gonna invest in this new space and buy this new thing, and everything goes wrong. Right? That's called the cost of doing business. Period. There's so many things you have to change from getting a check to running a business, and realize you need buffer resources. That's what I said. Like, you'll find one of the hard. Okay, well, I don't go that far. I won't go too far. All right, next slide.
Before we go to the next slide, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fern, to your point, Nana used to tell me all the time, don't buy rims for my business. And that's what it made me think about. So like in the early stages of Pinpoint, I was so quick to want to like have the biggest, flashiest pieces of equipment, but then I didn't have infrastructure, or I didn't have runway, or I didn't have money where I could take off if an emergency happened or the roof caved in. Like all of these things happened during the 11 years of running it. But like, because I was so eager to like prove myself in the beginning stages, I would buy things that weren't necessarily in the long-term bad decisions, but based on my financial fragility, they were very bad decisions because I was taking away from my ability to invest in my company. So it makes me think about that. And I still have hella work to do, but what I've found that has been working so far is just every year I do an inventory of what we bought and and when's the last time we bought it. And every year we just replace stuff that's high use before it breaks so that we don't have to do that. And that's built into like our strategy every year just because it's like, we know these got 5 years in. By year 3, we're replacing these and getting new ones because I don't want to have to wait till it breaks because that'll cause too much conflict. So, yeah.
Good.
All right. Examples in a creative service business like 510 Media. And 510 Media buys $100,000 worth of video and lighting gear expected to last 5 years. That's $20,000 per year in depreciation.
I mean, that means that on my books, I need to have $20,000 set aside for depreciation. If I spend $100 grand, it's almost like, okay, buy a luxury, make it really simple for you. I mean, people seen buy a luxury car and that car looks like shit because they never thought about depreciation, which is like the cost of driving that vehicle. And then their light gets broken or the car gets scratched and they have this Mercedes-Benz with this broken light. And it's because they're making their monthly payments, if they're making their monthly payments, but the car looks like shit. Even the washing the car. I know this guy, dude, he has a S-Series Mercedes-Benz. and you can tell he runs it through the cheapest car wash. You get an S-Series Mercedes-Benz, you got to find a specialty car wash because that car has delicate things on a car that a machine car wash is going to scratch the shit out of it, right? So all this stuff, if I want to drive a nice car or even lease a nice car, whatever, my car out there is a BMW 7 Series. Even though I'm leasing it, I got to spend every year and a half, which just means that in the 3 years, if you lease, like say a Honda Accord, only thing you probably replace is your windshield wipers. In that BMW, I would have to replace my tires alone every year and a half because the tires have an insulation where you can't hear the tires when they drive because it has insulation built inside the tire, right? Those tires cost $2,800 to replace. That's part of my cost. But what happens if you don't think about that when you buy the vehicle and that cost shows up and you just moving your money around, you're paying bills, and you don't have $2,800 just sitting there here you go. Now think about how you feel life is unfair. Think about your tires are raggedy. Think about the compounding effect of now driving on bad tires or trying to put cheap tires on your car, and the car is no longer as enjoyable as it was before. All these variables are think about your business. Now let's pull that car out the conversation, go back to your business. So now I spent $100,000. I understand that how much did you make that year? 20 grand is not part of my conversation. That's still on the books. Keep going.
Even if you made $50,000 profit this year, your real sustainable profit is $30,000 because you'll need that $20,000 to replace or upgrade equipment in the future. Mm-hmm. So when reviewing yearly results, you'd ask, did we set aside funds to cover the value we've used up this year? If not, your profit is actually consumed capital, not gain.
Consumed capital. So let me tell you, this is how your credit goes fucked up. Because you didn't think about the consumed capital, and you're moving your business, and you're moving, and you're rolling, and you're not thinking about the reinvestment. And now that $100,000 bill comes to, the rooster comes home to roost and says it's time to buy another $100,000 worth of equipment. And you already spent that capital. So now guess what you have to do? I'm going to get a loan. Now you see how you just changed your future trajectory? You compounded the situation. And a lot of that 20 grand, now I'm not saying, let's say one of those years was a black swan, but let's say $80,000 of that money could have just been saved with a decision making because you saw it as being valuable. But if you don't see it as being valuable and you spent it as just a profit and 100 grand shows up, that's a real black swan when you ain't ready for that. So now you're like, well, I'm gonna get this loan, and now you're paying the interest, and it's now you're in this nasty ass loop that's dangerous. So when you start growing your business, if you have 100 grand to spend, you got to think about, well, if I'm gonna spend 100 grand, do I have the money to reinvest in this type of equipment, even a service to maintain 100 grand? You guys get to what I'm going with this? This is one of them invisible, slippery slopes you can get caught up in, and before you know it, you're in such deep debt, or you're running a business at half mast because you didn't make smart investments. This is when your money defeats all your hard work, all your reading, all your values, all your virtues, because you don't see the return on the dollar. All right? Next slide.
The broader view of depreciation. Depreciation isn't just about machines wearing out. It's about value eroding over time.
So this is going to get into now the abstracts. Now, some of this was abstract already, but now we're going to get really into the abstract side of it. Go ahead.
Anything that once gave you a competitive advantage but now holds less power is experiencing depreciation. Mm-hmm. In that sense, your brand equity, business model, customer attention, and reputation are all assets that can decline in value if not maintained or reinvested in.
Your market position, your marketing as a whole, your relationship to your customers, your employees, anything that gives you a competitive edge is in a natural stage of depreciation. Anything. Your intelligence, your youthfulness, your hard work is in depreciation. You know, I have a good eye for this. It's in depreciation. I have the best team in the world. They're in depreciation. And if you're not okay, Sydney, one of my The only employee that is distorted because he thinks LeBron is better than Jordan. So I gotta be patient when he has mental health problems. Good person. But Sydney reminded me, hey, Nana, aren't you supposed to send us to Austin, Texas for a creative trip? Yeah, we got to set that up. Because if I don't invest in that creative growth, and he shows up to work every day and works really hard, and Sydney's going to probably be one of our next future scholars. Like, that boy is just freaking nature intelligence. Outside of LeBron James, and you got to forgive him. Like I say, he's been through a lot of trauma. He's probably like slept in yellow and purple and cavalier clothing all his life. But anyway, the point is this: the boy is brilliant as shit. But if I don't reinvest in his growth, there is no way in the world I can expect him to perform, to help us maintain a competitive edge. That's it. You gotta invest in all your employees' growth. Depreciation is not just hardware. It's the team's learning. Let's say you have a very smart team today. Let them not continue to read and study and have incentives to continue to grow. There's a generation waiting to smoke them. So if you're not keeping your eyes on now mind you, remember what I said earlier, depreciation is an opportunity for reinvestment. Reinvestment is what gives you readiness for tomorrow. That includes everything from, let's go over this real quick. Read those again one more time. Your what? Your brand equity.
Oh, sorry. Your brand equity, business model.
So your business model. Do you know your business model don't get to, it's depreciating? You don't get to stay the same as it originally started? Did you not know that? You know why it's depreciating? Because the generation that fell in love with you are already changing. It's changing. The market's changing. Competition's changing. Technology changing. Innovation changing. Solutions are changing. Time is changing. Politics is changing. Competitors are changing. You don't get to stay nowhere. This entrepreneur game is, you got to stay in constant motion. If you're not in constant motion, you fucking up. You don't get to rest and be like, we're going to just chill here and just keep doing what we've always done. Oh, okay. Watch your market share just constantly depreciate. Keep going. Keep reading those.
Customer attention.
Meaning that customers are going to lose attention for you. You're going to become OG every day to somebody. And the new people won't even know you exist. There's new people getting new jobs. Let's say you work B2B. You work from business to business. And that business loves you. They fucking with you, spending money with you. But as they have employee turnover, that new staff don't even know you exist. How are you reinvesting in that relationship? Depreciation. Is that crazy, y'all? Are y'all hearing me? Stop thinking people love you and that's why they do business with you. Nobody loves you. Cut that out. Your family loves you. This is business, people. Keep this two separate. Once you start playing family games with business, you're going to set false expectations on the business. They don't owe you shit. You owe them. Somebody walks in your business and says, man, I love what you're doing. Here's some money. They ain't gonna keep doing that shit to you because you're cute. Matter of fact, your looks are depreciating. I hate to tell you this, like, get married. They ain't the same motherfucker no more. All y'all. Everybody in this room was probably fine as shit, and it's just time. Youth is beauty. Age is a different kind of beauty. Classics. Anyway, go ahead. Hey, look here. I love me a 67 Mustang, but it is a 67 Mustang though. it ain't got no digital screen. Ain't got no goddamn lane warnings. If you want a backup mirror, you want a backup screen, you better look backwards. Like it's just the same thing. You gotta know that there's a difference in convenience. I still enjoy the 67 Mustang. I just understand that, hey, I gotta put a little extra work in. Go ahead.
I can tell you're talking to a crowd of older people.
I'm really being silly. I'm having fun at this point. Go ahead.
I finished the slide. Next one.
Huh? Okay. Well, we read all the customer value, customer attention, and reputation. So how people see you, your personality. Go back. Your reputation, how people see you, is just an asset. Like people know who I am. Man, I done did all this shit in the community. I done did all these things. That shit is deteriorating, bro. Have y'all ever seen an old gangster get out of prison and come back to the hood and what the hood treats him like? Who the fuck are you, dude? You better get off on my block. I used to run this block. That's the beginning of death. Because your reputation is gone. It depreciated. Y'all get where I'm going with this? Like, some of you guys are thinking that God made this world for you, and then when you started your business, you are the blessing of God. Now, God is no longer blessing you, blessing God with your business. No, by default, you're depreciating. Your family, as you know it today, is depreciating. How are you reinvesting in that? Or are you just thinking, I'm going to organically get old, everyone get old, and I'm going to probably live to 100 some years of age, and everything's going to live happily ever after? Do you work out like you're depreciating, or do you think that body will stay with you for the rest of your life?
No, I'll be out here training.
You are in natural depreciation. This is important because these are opportunities. Go back to that earlier point. Depreciation is an opportunity to reinvest. Hit the next slide.
Brand depreciation. When trust and relevance fade. How it happens. Cultural shifts. Your story, design, or tone stops resonating with your audience.
So whatever story you told that people used to love, it's just going to stop resonating. Think about a rapper that you loved 10 years ago. No one gives a shit. Busta Rhymes be like, I got something to say. People like, hey, hold on, man. Kendrick Lamar speaking. Shh. Let him finish. He's deteriorated. Some of us may still like, man, I ain't changed, so why I need to change rappers? But for the popularity, the big paychecks, he don't get Kendrick Lamar checks. Deteriorated. So your messaging, your cultural shifts. So a lot of the words you said, the things you were expressing, how you show how you were a rebel without the cause. Next culture don't even give a fuck. Next one.
Neglected community.
Ooh.
You stop engaging. Competitors build deeper connections.
So you stop. So you don't realize that you have to invest in a community that serves you. So you stop investing because you get used to them just giving you money because you think they love you. You forget that you have to return that investment. And then somebody comes along and starts pouring into them, and they take your market share. Welcome to the game, baby. That's what you signed up for. Sports don't give a shit that you played every game and lost. Sports don't care. What work did you put in and how many did you win? Because at the end of the day, they keep talking about wins and losses. They're not talking about efforts. That player should be called number one player of all times. Why? He had the most effort. He worked so hard. Aww. No one cares. No one cares. Keep going.
Consistency drift. You deliver inconsistent quality or messaging.
So now you mature, you're running your business, and you're starting to have consistency problems. Where at first you was tight as hell consistency. But now messaging consistency, emails a little sloppy here and there. Because as you span, you got more people touching your brand outreach, which is when customers engage your business, no longer is that core 7 people. You got 40 people now. But because you didn't have a strong enough culture to drive how you show up in ways to check and balance the outcome, you're naturally in a cycle of depreciation because of expansion. Keep going.
Lack of innovation. You keep using last year's marketing playbook in a new world. You
think that shit's hot, huh? Like you realize that everybody logo, if you're in business right now, it has to change. You don't get to keep rocking that shit forever. You can bring back the classics, but if you're going to resonate with that new market, you got to figure out how to adjust to that new market. There's different ways. There's 1,000 different ways to skin that cat. But what I'm saying is that you just can't keep using that same as old school tactic. Doesn't translate. Next slide.
Example. A creative agency that built its reputation on flashy social media videos in 2018 might find that style outdated by 2025. If it hasn't evolved its aesthetic or storytelling, the brand appeal depreciates, not because it's bad, but because the market evolved faster than the brand did.
So the market can move faster than you, and that means you have to move quicker. Keep going.
How to measure it. Declining engagement despite stable output.
I mean, the way you can measure that your levels of depreciation is you're putting out the same amount of work, but you're losing market share, or you're lowering profit numbers are coming down. Keep going.
increasing need for discounts to close sales.
So now you're running more discounts because people are not fucking with you like that. By the way, I'm gonna get to this discount game in a second. That's gonna be cold. But so now you find yourself have to run more sales because you don't have the same market appeal. Keep going.
Fewer inbound opportunities from brand reputation alone.
So what this is that when you have a strong brand reputation, man, do you understand the opportunities you get from being the strongest dog in the room? There's privileges, opportunities, money thrown your way, sometimes even result in actual cash being left on the table. You just take it. I'm not exaggerating this. But all of a sudden, those little opportunities start to disappear. And you start to realize, like, you literally feel like you climbing the hill as it's day 3. I mean, a third year in business again. Keep going.
These are signs your brand asset is losing value and needs reinvestment and relevance.
There you go. Next slide. Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
So I'm wondering, what's the difference between your brand, your business depreciating versus just the natural downturn in a business cycle?
That's all. That's the same thing. So even during downturn, a business cycle is not an end of you in business. If you're not reinvest, if you stand ready and a downturn happens, you can pivot, jump to another pod. You can figure out how to navigate that situation. But if you're underinvested and you overinvested in your old system, your legacy, what it have a tendency to do is that you will just go down with the ship, right? So you knowing that will happen, you already calculated that's a possibility and it will happen. And when that happens, you know to pull that lever because you're like, yeah, I'm ready for that. But that requires that you made a certain amount of reinvestment. You understand that your business, that downturn is an act of depreciation. I mean that whatever was keeping your business alive, if those things just fall away, is it still going to survive? Right? And sometimes you may even build your business. For example, one of the things I had to do in my business is have multiple industries tied to my business. So if this one depreciates, it gives me enough time to use this side to keep me alive while I rebuild something on this side, right? And this happens all the time. So then I have like 2 or 3 different or 4 different markets that I'm tapping into. So when one falls off, okay, guys, we got to reinvent ourselves over here. We don't go, oh, we still cool with these 3. No, we're not cool, because that 4th one, even though we don't need it to eat, it's actually our ability to navigate downturns, politics. So I don't. This is one of the dangers of having one big client. It'll make you feel good because it make you feel like you validated, but you weak as shit. Because if that client depreciates, and the depreciation of a client can happen that fast.
Yep.
It could be they made a bad mistake and they just have to pull all their money and cut employees and save their business, and you're one of those big cuts. So at the end of the day, if you don't have that diversity, like when you get that big client, the first thing you're ready to say is, hey, y'all, let's not over focus on this one client. Let's make sure the business is already seeking another client and more clients. So when one of these clients fall off, okay, it's part of the game. And I didn't build my business on the income of that big client. The income of that big client is like, if you have a farm, you have a good year. But if you have a farm, bad years are going to come. So if you're not building your business for the bad years, you just only built it for the good years, you're fucked. And the ones who don't build it for the bad years are the ones who don't understand depreciations. Next one. No, go back. We didn't do that one.
The next slide.
Josh, you just a little finger happy today. Go ahead.
Whoa.
Hey, yo.
Go ahead.
Business model depreciation. When your engine wears out. Even if your brand is strong, your business model, the way you make and capture value, can depreciate. Mm-hmm. How it happens. Margin compression. Costs rise faster than pricing.
So the cost of doing business rises faster than your pricing is rising. And you don't know how to navigate that. That's a depreciation. Now you can reinvest your business to grow your business to justify the new pricing. But if you haven't been growing your business to justify new pricing and the cost of doing business rises faster than pricing, that is a natural act of depreciation. Keep going.
Platform shifts. Mm-hmm. Tech changes how customers buy. Example, AI replacing manual creative labor.
There you go. So when people, AI, that's a game we signed up for. Like most entrepreneurs are not whining about AI. We know that's just a game we signed up for. It's the people who are analyzing entrepreneurs are whining. Most entrepreneurs, that's the game we signed. They always find some entrepreneur be like, yeah, I lost my business to AI. Well, no, bro, because you didn't understand the cycle of depreciation. Keep going.
Customer expectation. What was premium 5 years ago becomes baseline today.
Y'all see that happen all the time. Something that was really expensive back in the days that you was making money off of. Now people are like, man, I get this shit on Amazon for $20. Keep going.
Regulatory or structural changes, new laws, distribution models, or market entrants make your old way less viable.
See where I'm going with this? Even market changes, politics. It ain't for you. Don't control it. You don't control the ocean. You got to figure out how to navigate it. You don't control the business market. You just got to learn how to navigate it. You don't sit there and talk about, I was on the ocean today, and guess what the fuck happened to me? What? It was a storm. And, you know, my raggedy ass boat just went down. I hate them damn storms. No, you should hate that raggedy ass boat. That's business. That's it right there. Build a business knowing the storm will come. And just because you had 10 sales and there's no storms, that doesn't give you the right to underinvest in the future of storms. Keep going.
Example, think of Blockbusters. Their brand was beloved, but their business model depreciated faster than they realized.
Remember that? Yeah, I remember that. Well, those of y'all might be too young, but Blockbusters is a place where you go pick up some videos and rent videos. And people used to go to Blockbusters like it was part of American language.
Yes, it was.
So, but it changed so fast. And when it changed that fast, their emotional connection, the psychological, how they dug their feet in, they bought into this brand, and it changed so fast. Just cultural change destroyed Blockbuster. It wasn't Blockbuster was charging too much. No, everything changed. Even the cost of charge, everything changed. Go ahead, keep going.
Netflix reinvested while Blockbusters collected short-term profits.
By the way, that was lucky, by the way. But yeah, that's why Netflix survived, because they reinvested. Go ahead.
Or, in your world, imagine a marketing firm still charging by the hour while clients now expect outcome-based pricing. The revenue model itself depreciates in effectiveness.
So whatever your way of charging your clients, that charging and your pricing is under the pressure of depreciation. Can you reinvest in that? Absolutely can reinvest in that. But you got to keep your fingers on the pulse of the trends in your industry and figure out what do you need to do to continue to protect your positioning in the market. If you just think your pricing is tied to your personal value, you are trash. I'm sorry, if I offended you, you still trash. Keep going. Next slide. Hidden distortions.
My slides, it's not popping up. Give me a second to refresh.
Okay. Dun, 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 dun. We need that. She's refreshing her slides.
My slide deck is saying it can't preview.
Huh?
My slide deck is saying it can't preview. Let me just open a new window, sorry.
Oh, you want to use my computer? I remember the old days. Depreciation.
Let me see. Hidden distortions.
Okay, here we go, y'all.
Illusion of profit. Just like financial depreciation distorts the health of a business, brand and model depreciation distort your perception of momentum.
Stop right there. So, my business is growing. We're doing really good. Are you really? If you're not reinvesting? If you think your business is doing good, does your reinvestment strategy match the feeling you have about your business doing good? Just stay right there. Does your business reinvestment match the perception of your business doing really good? And if it doesn't, you're distorted. Ain't that cold? Ain't that cold? If you're not investing, because trust me, I deal with a lot of businesses for marketing, and a lot of people are resisting reinvesting in their business, but they're looking for business growth. Does your growth match your reinvestment? Or are you distorted? I mean, that because whatever momentum you think you're gaining in the market, your depreciation is probably growing just as fast. Keep going.
You might see strong quarterly profit and think, we're thriving. But under the surface, you're consuming your brand's past goodwill or customer trust, much like running equipment until it breaks. Short-term profits can mask long-term decay.
Is that cold? So your business can be doing good on old reputation alone. The new people that's coming to the position, you don't look shiny enough for them to do business with you. They're looking at your competitor already because you've already uninvested. You didn't already say to yourself, all the people that's fucking with, here's a healthy way to think about it. Everybody's dealing with doing business with you today. If they all were to drop dead together at the same time, this is crazy, but this is a healthy way of processing it. Is your business robust enough to catch those who've never seen you before? If it's not, you're underinvested. Don't be like, last year we did hella good, so I'm thinking next year, bruh, please stop. Man, everybody loves me. Please stop. We the only ones. Please stop. If your investment doesn't match your momentum is a distortion. Next slide.
Preventing brand and model depreciation. To preserve value, treat your intangible assets with the same seriousness as your physical ones.
So treat your intangible, your abstract assets with the same seriousness as your. So treat your culture, your brand, your value, your market attention, your marketing the same way you treat the equipment, the computer in your office. It's all the same thing. You don't get to worry about your computers, but underinvest in the culture. Your employees, their intelligence, how well they do their job, all that is under the umbrella of depreciation. Let's go putting your big boy pants on. Because if you don't put your big boy pants on, you could really think that I'm doing a good job, and that's why I'm getting paid. And if you take your finger off the pulse of depreciation, you will underserve your business and destroy your business. Read these real quick.
Like across?
Yeah.
Okay. Asset type, brand, depreciation cause, cultural irrelevance, lack of storytelling, stale identity, reinvestment needed, refresh brand story, visual system, and voice.
So visual system and your voice. So if you're running a brand business, who's the voice of your business? Why are you still the voice? Nobody wants to hear you, OG, you're selling to 22-year-olds. Let me tell y'all what you youngsters you didn't know about playing basketball. Bro, we dribble with two hands now. What are you talking about? Keep going, next one.
Business model, depreciation cause, outdated pricing, delivery or tech model, reinvestment needed, rethink customer experience, pricing structure, and partnerships.
So you guys constantly stay in, every year, one of the things you want to evaluate is, what is my customer experience? Let's rethink it. Can we change it? Can we improve it, right? Our pricing, our structures. How can we pass on savings to my customer by redesigning things in my business, right? How can we develop smart partnerships that can create savings that can pass on to my customer? You see how I'm going like this? Like, this is called running your business. Running your business, like tonight, you know whether or not depreciation is a major part of running a business. Is managing this. A lot of people think running a business is just telling everybody what to do and making sure the product is clean and polished. No, you got to think about that. Everything you're comfortable with is dying. Entropy. Next one.
Asset type, team culture, depreciation cause, burnout and misalignment, reinvestment needed, learning new incentives, cultural renewal.
So, meaning that you got to keep updating the culture. You got to renew the incentives. And you got to continue to drive learning. When human beings don't feel like they learn anymore, they lose interest. It's just that simple. Nobody wants to keep doing the same as job with no opportunity to learn anything different. Keep going.
Asset type, relationships, depreciation cause, neglect transactional approach.
So real quick, Jordan, remember this last week? This is kind of what you said. Relationships, depreciation cause, neglect, or transactional approach. This causes huge depreciation. And reinvestment needed? Go ahead.
Consistent communication, shared value creation.
Shared value creation. How do you align values with the customers you serve? That is so cold right there alone. Or are you still driving what you believe is right in this world? You see the big difference? Aligned cultural values. Consistent communication. Are you spending time talking to your customers? Or are you just transactional with them? You making money off of them, or are you building relationships with them? Y'all see the big difference? This is so much game that I promise these are common areas that a lot of leaders are making mistakes in. All right. Any questions before we go to this next thought? We're going to change. Go next slide before I make sure we change the thought. Oh, yeah, okay. Go read this. We're still in the same model. Read this one. Go ahead.
Entrepreneur's mental model.
It is a mental model, people. Go ahead.
Everything of value depreciates unless it is renewed.
Everything of value depreciates unless it's renewed. Everything. They say some things, they say most things. Everything that's valuable has to be renewed. Do you realize that me and Mashama have a anti-depreciation policy? I love Mashama probably more than any man on this earth. It's weird. Give me space. But in my love for him, it's not a love of entitlement. He don't owe me his love. I don't owe him my love. Our love comes from I know that I have to show up a certain kind of way and perform a certain type of level to protect our relationship. I said this since day one. When we first got together, I was like, yo, I'm not entitled to our partnership. If I want to keep our partnership alive as business or as business partners, I gotta make sure I say that for this new culture. As business partners, it's important. Yeah, I gotta be clear. But it's important that my partnership has to be earned. That means there's certain obligations of how I have to show up and things I have to achieve to stay in this relationship. When I no longer can provide those type of things, I no longer deserve this relationship. Otherwise, that relationship will naturally depreciate, and all of a sudden one day it's just like it could be one small ass argument and he don't fuck with me no more, I don't fuck with him no more, because we let the relationship depreciate unconscious to ourselves. So everything that you have that's valuable, relationships, your children, it requires reinvestment. Everything. Keep going. The mistake most founders.
The mistake most founders make is reinvesting only in things
Concrete.
gear, space, and not in systems or value creation, brand, team, and business model. If you don't deliberately reinvest, your company might be profitable but decaying.
That's it right there. That's cold. If you're not reinvesting, you're decaying. It ain't no in-betweens. Stop lying to yourself. It's just no in-between. My favorite taco and burrito spot, I can tell they're not reinvesting. They've been around since I was in my 30s. This spot was a spot. They stopped reinvesting. The reason I can tell they reinvest, I like the baseboard. The baseboards are peeling. Paint's still old. They should repaint this place a long time ago. Some of this furniture you've had when I first came a long time ago. You ain't replaced these tables. You ain't changed the decorations. You ain't changed the signage. Now you're living off an old brand reputation or market convenience. But if you're surviving, don't think that now you're like prey living amongst wolves, and the wolves just ain't seen you yet. Once the wolves focus on you, you're done. You won't exist because you decay so much that all another person has to do is come in and turn the lights on and have a new space, and you're out of business, and the product could be less quality than yours, but people feel like, oh, this is new. You're done. That's it. So if you're not investing, y'all know how black culture is. We don't make those moves we don't invest in black culture businesses. Y'all come on, man. I don't even need to, I'm 58 years of age. I've been around a lot of black businesses. It's very uncommon for black businesses to really reinvest in themselves, especially the abstract areas.
Hey, just to note, 2 24-hour fitnesses in our area just shut down. Downtown Oakland and Hilltop gone.
And
And I'm sure San Leandro's right behind them.
Bayfair gonna be right behind it.
Bayfair, they invest in. I ain't seen investment in that gym yet. That gym was my grandfather probably trained on that equipment. That shit's so goddamn old. Arnold probably won contests with the equipment.
Just nasty.
That shit hella old. All right. We get any questions on DKN?
The wipe stations.
Yeah.
How you remove the wipe stations? That's
Yeah.
baseline reinvestment. Just nasty.
I know Josiah. We're missing Josiah.
First of all, I really love this class because it took me hella long to understand depreciation as a photographer and like be able to write that off on my taxes and be able to leverage that forward. Like it took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah.
But also I think what you're talking about on just a base level that's really dope that we haven't covered is as far as money, your money is constantly depreciating.
Hey,
If you are not beating,
come on.
if you are not beating the annual CPI, which is, anybody here know what the CPI is? Consumer Price Index, which is the rate of inflation. So if you got money in the bank right now, who's got a savings account? Is your savings account making 3% or more? No. You're losing money.
You're losing money.
If you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank and you're not making over 3% on your money, you are losing money. So think about that. Your money is depreciating. So always think about how you want to position your money, whether it's in the S&P where you're getting 8 to 11% annually on return, high yield savings account where I think they're at
4.25.
we're at 4.25 right now. So you got to pay attention to these things. But I love that you're talking about this because everything is that red queen's race. Everything is depreciating all the time.
Everything. Like literally, money underneath your bed is losing value every minute. Like you're in a world where, I mean, your physical body is depreciating. There's nothing around you. There's nothing if you buy a house, a lot of people always want to buy these houses. Oh, I want to buy a house. No one calculates depreciation cost. That shit is a shock value if you don't understand it. Because, okay, say your roof costs, it needs to be replaced in 10 more years from the time you buy it. And that roof's going to cost 30 grand. But you didn't put that away per year. And then when it's time for the roof to be replaced, it's 30 grand, but you don't have the money. Now the water is leaking and it's getting inside the house. And that cost is going up by the second.
Or I know somebody whose neighbor took out the retaining wall next to their property and their property is elevated. And now your property is sinking because the retaining wall that your neighbor took out is affecting your property. So you got to think about all these things.
All these, like when I say due diligence, once you put depreciation into your analysis, you start seeing hidden things that are not even discussed in the sales conversation.
That's great.
So somebody say, hey, you want to buy this thing? Your first thing, one of your thoughts be like, what is the cost of depreciation on this? And you start asking yourself, damn, I don't really want to spend that kind of money on this. I mean, once you think about that, I don't care. Buy a new car that's hella tight and just put it in the garage. Never drive it. Just get somebody to come in, turn it, and make sure it's everything, all the parts are functioning. It's still depreciating.
I think Maserati depreciates like 50% as soon as you take it off the lot.
Shit, most cars do now. Maserati's even worse. All right, let's go on to the next subject. I want you guys to make sure that we lock in some thought behind depreciation. Go on ChatGPT, ask about depreciation, dive deeper into this, have more ownership around depreciation. If you don't own depreciation, you are running a raggedy ass business. Let me say this again. If you don't have more ownership around depreciation, and you can gain this is something you can gain from just training yourself, you're running a raggedy ass business. I don't give a fuck how shiny, how cute your business is. It's just slowly. Look, the problem with deterioration, because your brain and eye don't have time to watch, it's like watching paint dry. You don't want to watch your deterioration. But I can assure you, year after year after year, you're losing competitive edge. I'm watching your business die, as opposed to I'm watching your business grow and expand. And part of a business growing and expanding, you can tell by its reinvestment habits. If you're not reinvesting in whatever you're into, you're just constantly letting it deteriorate. I can't even take you serious about whatever you're into. All right, we're going back to game. We're gonna read those first two real quick, and then we'll get into infinite. I kind of expanded finite versus infinite games because I really don't think you guys understand how powerful it is. So we're gonna read these first three. Let's just roll through them, and then when we get to the fourth one, we're going to roll to the slide again because this is where we left off. So this is a refresher. I'm not going to really stop that much on it, but the next slides we're going to pick up. So just read this slide real quick.
Conceptual framing, why knowing the game matters.
This is game theory.
Hidden rule books. Every business environment has an underlying rule book. Some are written regulations and contracts, but most are unwritten. Cultural norms, status, games, timing, games, network games. Many entrepreneurs fail because they assume they are playing one game. Example, product quality, when the real game might be about distribution power or social proof.
So once again, understanding the game that you're playing, even with customer engagement. Understand the game. If requires is kept, depreciation is part of game theory. But when you're in business and you're trying to provide a good job for somebody, sometimes it's not even about a good job. It's about making that person look good. Or it might be about completing an idea that the company has. And if you play the wrong game, engaging customers, it's one of the easiest way to do a great job and lose your business. You do a great job. So for example, let's say you do flowers, right? If you don't understand why that person's ordering flowers and what that flowers mean to them and how it's showing up, and you show up with these beautiful decorations, but it doesn't align with what they wanted from those flowers, you're just a meh business, mediocre. But once you understand their why, their deeper psychological motivation for having those flowers, and you can speak to that in the way you do business and signal and lean into that, that alone gives you a hell of a competitive edge. Game theory. Next one.
Multiple games at once. In markets, there's rarely just one game happening. Example, tech startups often think they're in the innovation game, but investors are often playing the valuation game, and regulators might be in the safety game. If you don't see the other layers, you get blindsided.
So remember, not only is all businesses and everybody that you come in contact with, from employees to vendors to customers to neighbors, are playing different games. But even in your personal life, this is the same rule. Do you know the game the person's playing in your personal life? If you don't know okay, imagine you're 40 years of age and you meet a pretty person, a pretty woman that's in her 30s, and you're a man. And you're playing this rule of just wanting comfort, chill, and relaxation. And she's playing the game of, I need to get married because I'm 32. If you don't translate that, there's going to be frustration because you don't realize you guys are playing different games. And you think when you date a person 10 years younger than you, you're playing the same game. You're not. Why is that important? Have kids. Let your kid become a teenager. They can talk like you, got muscles like you, but they ain't playing the game you playing. Age gap. And if you don't know that, then you'll start judging them by your game, not seeing the game they're playing, and knowing how to manage and negotiate those differences. You guys get that? No, everything around you is playing a game. Everything. You just got to figure out what game are they playing. This is why superficial culture is trash. Keep going. Last one.
Finite versus infinite games. James Cars's framework.
Yeah.
Finite games, clear rules, winners, losers, endpoints. Example, quarterly sales contests. Infinite game, open-ended, evolving rules, aims is to keep playing. Example, building trust with a community. Entrepreneurs need to discern which one they're in.
So by the way, depreciation is a finite versus infinite game separation, right? Because if you understand the game you're playing, then you know how to spend your money. If you're just playing finite rules, depreciation means something totally different to you. Totally different to you. If you're just trying to get in and get out in 6 years, or are you communicating one idea but you're playing a different game? So are you having quarterly contests but you're playing long-term business? You know what happens when you preach quarterly contests to your team? They'll start cheating the game to win the contest, which means your business starts running like a short-term business in a long-term game, allowing you to be defeated. So is your communication long-term or is your communication short-term? Is your planning long-term or short-term? Is your business model long-term or short-term? You guys see how cool this is? Okay, go next slide. Let's jump into this.
Practical applications for entrepreneurs.
So this is infinite versus finite. This is kind of like understanding. This is game theory. Now, Bryce, look at this real quick. Price game versus value game. Let's go for it.
Pricing game versus value game. A consultant may think they're competing on price. How cheap can I be? When the real game is trust plus positioning. Who seems indispensable?
Okay. I almost want to come because I think I want to come back to this because this is tied to a bigger point. Keep going. I want to come back to this. This is going to be so good. This is something that Actively Black is doing And I'm like, oh, I wish I could talk to the lead. I could talk to the head dude. Can you go ahead?
Marketing game versus product game. A brilliant app can die if the entrepreneur thinks the product game, best features, is enough, while competitors are playing the market game, loudest voice, most partnerships.
So these are different ways you can approach the game. These are different game strategies, right? So you could be thinking that, okay, I got the most valuable product, and the competitor whoops your ass because they're louder, they're everywhere, and they have smart partnerships. That's just game theory. So this is why you can't dig in and just play I'm going to work really, really hard and be the best at the game. That's an early stage of development, but that's not called good business. You got to look at your competitors. A competitor who's like, every time like for example, you've seen there's a billboard out here. Those of you that are not from Oakland, this is Asian woman on all the law billboards. What's her name? Anthem. Am I lying? She ain't bullshitting. I got so much respect for her because every time I look up, I'm like, damn, she is everywhere. She has to spend almost a $500,000 on goddamn billboards. But her game theory is she might not be the best, but she's everywhere. And she's eating. And I promise you, she's going to be around for as long as she's in business. You guys will get used to that name, and Thong. Thong? Fong, okay. Hey, I had the wrong guy. Hey, look at Thong. Hey, look here. Look, I have a different background than y'all. Go ahead. Wow. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Capital gain versus control gain. Go ahead.
Founders often chase funding thinking the goal is money to grow, but the hidden game is about ownership and power. Mm-hmm. Every round you play shifts control of the company.
Ooh, you ever see that game? Every time you take in money, you're shifting power. Did you realize, like, so when you go raise money, you know, okay. I was talking to somebody, I think I was Sean. I was saying we were gentrifying our businesses doing George Floyd. We were raising all this money, but we were shifting power. Because every time you raise money, you have to give up a certain amount of your power. So white investors, I don't give a shit if they're liberal or not, were coming in, investing in black businesses. I'm helping the business out, but they're gaining intellectual property and control over our businesses, as well as access to our market through us. Did y'all see how that game was so cold? And so as investors kept coming in, I'm gonna give you 40 million, 50 million, 20 million, but at what cost? So then you say, and some of them were, I'm giving you 50 million with the intent for you to sell in 6 years, which means the community doesn't get the benefit of having that business. So remember, when you take in investments, you're giving up power. And the game is to control as much power as possible. You see how cold that is? Keep going.
Local game versus global game. Mm-hmm. Some businesses win locally but fail globally because they don't see that scaling changes the rules. Different competitors, different distribution channels, different customer psychology.
So a lot of times the way you run your business locally has nothing to do with expansion. Once you decide to expand your business and have multiple chains, once you leave outside of your comfort zone, you have to do your due diligence to know what has to be different about your business once it starts to shift and change locations. And what happens with a lot of businesses that die when they try to change locations, they don't see that the game totally changes when you change locations. That's just a rule of business. It ain't personal, ain't got to do with you. Once you decide to expand your business outside of your local arena, the game changes, meaning that you have to develop multiple games depending on how your business. So, for example, Course just said he had a space that his base was in Oakland. That's one game. Now he has a new spot, a manufacturing space in Walnut Creek. That's another game. If he just tries to take that game over here and transfer it over there, it's going to break the system because they're two different games because the culture that surrounds them. There's just a lot. Expectations, values, comfort zones, just a lot of shit that changes the game.
Next.
Okay, next slide.
Entrepreneur lens insights. Entrepreneurs often lose because they assume everyone is playing fair under the same rules.
Shakina, read that part again about the fair. Go ahead. Remember I told you earlier? Fear.
Remember
Okay.
my nature. No, I'm just You really want me to reread it? Reread it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Entrepreneurs often lose because they assume everyone is playing fair
Quote unquote fear.
under the same rules. In reality, markets are arenas of overlapping games, status games, money games, reputation games, power games. The leader who lasts are those who can 1. Spot the hidden game, 2. Choose whether to enter, and 3. Shift games when the rules change.
I don't play games I don't understand. I always understand the game I'm playing, and I know I have the power to change the game. That's it. That's why the conversation around racism is trash to me, because it's telling me I'm stuck in a game I can't change. That's not true. There's no such thing. All games can be changed. Every game you're in can be changed. It's when you believe it can't be changed, and it ain't gonna be changed by you. You're gonna be a victim of the game you refuse it, that you don't know you can change. Next slide.
Why it's abstract. 1. Rules and boundaries. A game is a set of rules and objectives, but those aren't physically visible. They exist in agreements, norms, or systems.
So here's the abstract side of this game. It's all these rules that are around you all the time that if you don't know what they are and you go in there with the best intent, I can prove to you that if you break a rule with good intent, you will still receive the punishment. If you break the rule with good intent, you still receive the punishment. This is why it's important. You have to know the games you're playing and the abstractions that exist around you. Abstracts are so important that it's so funny that we don't talk in abstracts and we don't constantly try to bubble up as many abstracts as we can. But a lot of times our efforts are often undermined because we shit on the abstractions. Isn't that cold? Keep going.
2. Multiple interpretations. Games can mean sports, business competitions, politics, status, or even survival. The same word frames different realities.
So, even though we talk about game theory, game in business, game in politics, game in survival, game in sports, all are different. They're not just game is a game. It's easy to just summarize a game as a game. No, it depends. It changes based upon the arena that it exists in. Y'all get that? This is some good shit. Keep going.
3. Invisible forces. The real game entrepreneurs must see is often invisible. Power dynamics, incentives, narratives, timing. This requires abstract thinking to recognize.
So if you can't see the incentives that's being played out, it's like going against inertia. It's like you going up against a big ass wave coming your way. Talking about, I'm about to stop it. It's just water. Oh, okay, tsunami victim. Right? You gotta be able to see these invisible powers around you. If you don't understand timing, power dynamics, who's who, the narrative that's running behind the scenes that you don't even know exists. What's the narrative here? Why is this culture working? If you're serving customers, especially B2B, this should be your first, this is what you need to identify immediately. If you're not identifying this, you're not playing B2B. You're playing, they should reward me because I work really, really hard games. No one gives a fuck about you. Next slide.
Why it matters for entrepreneurs. 1. Many founders mistake the concrete layer, product, features, prices, contracts, for the whole game.
So remember, we mistake the concrete layers. My product features, we got the best prices. We signed the contract. Keep going.
Missing the abstract layer, trust, reputation, positioning, control of distribution.
Okay, so now you understand why this class exists? This class has more abstractions in it than a little bit. If you miss trust, have you established trust with this customer? Well, that's psychological, right? Reputation, is that psychological? Positioning, is that psychological? Control of distribution, that's probably a little more concrete. But if you don't understand all these different layers of different things that are affecting business, you thinking that I studied this, I'm really good at that, I should do good in business. I went to school for this. Oh, I can't stand those people. Do you understand human relationships? Do you understand group behavior? Do you understand what incentivizes these people to get up every morning and show up to this office? And do you understand why they incentivize to spend money with you? Do you understand why your team is incentivized to provide the services and how those incentives can become distortions that can result in flawed products or services? Are you practicing reinvesting in those incentives to make sure that you're polishing the incentives to maximize your competitive edge? I'm giving you guys like the hardest core. Like, go home and audit your fucking business and look at your depreciation, look at your awareness of abstractions, look at your game theory. Are you clear on these things? If you're not running your business is running you. What do you mean your business is running you? I work hella hours. I feel like I'm a slave to my business. I know you're a slave to your business because you don't own these things. Next slide.
We're not going to do this too.
Let's see. Many founders lose energy because they play an infinite game. Oh, this is the infinite concept. This gives me. Let's just run through this. Let's run through like maybe just this slide and let's call it a night. All right, let's go through this real quick.
Misalignment kills progress.
This is when you think you're playing a finite game and you're really in an infinite game. This is what I wanted to get to. That's going to kind of bring this together. Keep going. Hit it.
Many founders lose energy because they're playing an infinite game, building a mission-driven brand with a finite strategy, obsessing over short-term scoreboard metrics.
Okay, this is so important. This is such. Go ahead. Let's jump in this real quick.
The social mission brand that burns out. A founder says their goal is to empower the community through employment, but every decision revolves around next month's sales target.
Okay, please. A founder says, yeah, I'm trying to empower the community. I built my business to empower the black community. But every decision revolves around next month's sales target. What the fuck are you doing with the community? I promise, I hear something. I'm here to help black people out. When last time you had that kind of conversation? Every week I hear you about, you gotta meet these numbers, gotta meet these metrics. Let's just call it what it is. You're stuck between, the community is a long-term plan. But every day you go to business, you're thinking about the short-term goal, which is, hey, did we hit our numbers next month? You're gapped. Go ahead, next one.
They underpay staff to hit margins.
This is when social mission. So you're underpaying staff to hit margins. So what happens?
Culture erodes, trust drops, mission loses credibility.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Misalignment, infinite goals, empowerment, using finite tools, cost-cutting, quarterly wins.
So you're talking about infinite goal, empowerment. Nothing about your business is empowering nobody. And this is, you'll say, what is your purpose of your business? My purpose is to help black people and help the community. Oh, well, the way you run your business, nothing there helps black community and grows your business. So then after a while, your employees catch on and be like, you ain't even trying to empower us. You ain't trying to do nothing for community. With short-term goal, I don't see a return on our investments. I'm out. So now you lose your staff. You lost your customers. Your business model made you run a dysfunctional business till you destroyed it. I know y'all seen that before. I've seen it many times before. Keep going. Let's hit the next one. Nonprofits. This is going to land home. This is the thing about the George Floyd era. This is going to land directly on the front step. Go to next. Hit the nonprofit. Go ahead.
The nonprofit that becomes transactional. The organization claims to build generational wealth, but obsesses over donor numbers each month instead of real outcomes.
How many times y'all seen people, I don't know if you have been a part of nonprofits who tell you about this big mission they have, but they spend most of the time getting ready for the next donation. Mm-hmm. Trying to get founders and philanthropists to invest in there to give them money. But they keep telling you about the community. Now watch this. Keep going. Watch this. This is going to get personal. Go ahead.
The team gets trapped in chasing grants instead of building sustainable models.
So whoa. So you mean they spend more time on finding how to position themselves for the next grant as opposed to creating a better model sustainable model that where they don't even need grants in long term? How many times y'all see nonprofits? They grant chasers, but they're not model chasers. Keep going.
Misalignment, infinite game, systemic impact with infinite strategy, short-term funding cycles.
So now you're in these funding cycles where now your main focus as a foundation or a nonprofit is to raise money, but you haven't even improved the way that you're going to show. You don't even have proper insight in the community you seek to serve. You think this is crazy? Trust me, get inside some of these nonprofits, and when you get inside of them, you realize, oh, y'all in a cycle system. Oh, getting ready for the next cycle to raise money. If I looked at your strategy development game, it doesn't match your funding, raising money funding game. Because what happens, the funding starts to become a distraction. So now you're out of alignment, which is long-term misalignment. This infinite game is, system impact. We want to have impact. But short-term strategy, your short-term strategy, short-term funding cycles. Distortion. Okay, hit the next one.
The influencer entrepreneur. A content creator says they want to change the narrative of Black entrepreneurship, but often focuses only on follower count and viral hits.
Ooh, go back to that. So remember we had a class and there was an argument of popularity, and I was like, yo, I can't do that. You heard me in court say, this is not going to be the most popular class, because if we're trying to grow entrepreneurs, if we focus on viral hits and becoming popular, we can't serve you no more. I know how to say the shit that make people be like, oh, I'm listening to that class every week. But I promise you, I've given you nothing. You can't dig yourself out of a fucking low, shallow ass hole. So in order for me, I have to forsake strong popularity over efficiency. Meaning a lot of entrepreneurs as part of this class, I know their numbers, I know their growth, I know their rate of growth. I'm always investing in that. But I can't change this class to make you, oh my God, that was the most funnest class ever. Damn, my numbers haven't changed in a year. Yeah, I know. But it's fun. And I'm paid. I look good over here. I'm looking like Tony Robbins over here. I'll change my voice like this because my money's so fat. From a nonprofit. But in the end, I didn't serve you. So that's the decision me and McCourt had to sit down. Like, are we here to serve the community or are we here to serve ourselves? We know how to grow the court knows more tricks on how to manipulate y'all than a little bit, because he at one point had a lot of connection. That's a lot of his old friends who ran those games. But we're more committed to quality outcomes than trash delivery. Keep going that one.
The message gets watered down.
Watered down like a motherfucker.
People follow but don't transform.
Mm-hmm.
Misalignment, infinite goal, education empowerment with finite metrics, views, and likes.
Okay, next one.
The family-owned business. Parents dream of passing down a legacy, but run the business in a survival mode. No succession plan, no reinvestment in
So I mean, people, oh yeah, I'm building this business for my family. Well, if you die tomorrow, you ain't got much to give them. And nor are you running your business with the intent to have much to give them. So you're not running your business with a succession plan. That's not part of your equation. It's about survival mode, spin mode, me mode, I mode. But then you keep telling everybody this about the we mode, the family mode. Is it really? Short term versus long term. Infinite versus finite. You guys can try to see how cold this is? How you can talk infinite, but you don't realize your strategy is more finite. And at the end of the day, your infinite dreams will never come true. But because they're infinite, you can almost betray your infinite goal because it's so far out there. And what's right in your face is finite goals. But you can actually shape your finite planning to protect your infinite long-term goals. But your brain has to literally say, I'm plugging that in and plan and strategize that and prioritize that, not say my effort means that's what I'm doing. Because my effort is there. Whether I'm achieving it or not, my effort is there. Cold shit. Just flip this one real quick. Okay, go back because I want to finish that slide. Misalignment, infinite vision. Okay, go to the next slide. I want to read one. Hold on a second. Coaching, consulting, business. Discount trap. Just read the discount trap. I just want that. That's the one I want to get before we get out of here. The hype cycle, Black ownership, business example. We get this, but hit the discount trap. That's the one I skipped earlier, but this brings it all home. Okay. Hit this one right here. This is actively black.
The discount trap. A clothing brand keeps running sales to boost revenue. Customers learn to wait for discounts. Brands lose premium feel. Long-term trust erodes. Lesson: you can't play the trust game with price war tactics.
Did y'all see that? Read that one more time because that shit's so much fucking power. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Okay, go ahead. Read the first line.
A clothing brand that keeps running sales to boost revenue.
So business is slowing down, so you keep running these cool sales every 2 or 3 months to boost revenue. This month, 40% off everything on the site. This month, 20% off everything on the site, right? And you think because of boosted revenue, that is just managing your business, short-term thinking. Not thinking, what is the long-term effect of that short-term strategy? The long-term effect of that strategy is that you're bringing down brand quality. You're stealing from the brand quality to win this sale. So then when you go online and say, I don't understand why you go to, Ralph Lauren and buy his shit and don't complain about pricing. Now, one of y'all say anything about pricing. Ralph Lauren is like, yo, I'm playing a different game than you playing. Also, I didn't get in the industry comparing myself to Nike. I got in my industry comparing myself to closer to Giorgio Armani. So we're in different games. So for you to get online and start talking about this game versus that game, you're doing unfair game comparison. Also, you got to realize that you want to argue quality, but if you keep running these sales like that, you're undermining your quality argument. Y'all see that shit? So customers learn to wait for discounts. Now your customers, you think your customers ain't paying attention to the trend? The customer's like, man, 3 months, man. Fuck, I know that shirt just came out for $100, $120. In 3 months, you're gonna run a sale. Shit, what's that? End of the year, Black Friday, whatever, Red Friday, Purple Red Friday, whatever color that Friday is. Wait for that Friday. I'm gonna get that same sweatshirt for $60. And on Friday, your shit's selling, it's popping. But on Monday, true. But you did that to yourself, and if you don't know these invisible moves you're making, you don't know the outcome. This is why game theory is so important, because when they ran the discount, was anybody being evil, dumb, or stupid or mean? No. Were they being bad people? No. They don't understand game theory. That's it. Unfortunately, the world doesn't give a fuck if you don't understand the game. The game is the game. You don't play it. I don't give a fuck what your intent is. I don't give a shit if you went to church every week, gave Pastor Chris the best offering, by the way, he deserves it, the best offering in the world. You've been out there feeding the homeless, talking to the drug dealers to get off the streets. You're doing everything right. You're still going to be broke because you ain't following the game. So by you always running discounts, all of a sudden, you don't understand that you're in a trust game when you should be in a price war game. No, you should be in the trust game, but you're playing the price war game. And don't get me wrong, if you want to play a price war game, that's fine if you have a commodity that can handle a price war game, i.e. Walmart, right? But if you're playing the trust game and you're trying to be a valuable product, but you're always running sales, the game you're playing, your finite game, is destroying your infinite game. You see how that break of not seeing these games you're playing? And being in the end, you're thinking, I just had to raise some money for last month. Things were really rough. Yeah, but you don't realize what you just did was you undermined future months to come.
That's what I'm hurting right now, because I can't run a price thing, because it will literally, like, so we'll do, like, if I need real money, I need some real money. But we would run a flash sale, because I know we would get X amount of dollars. I realized I didn't want to fall into that and then devalue the actual, because if we're taunting or we're touting unpretentious luxury, but we sitting up running discounts every time something gets hard, it completely undermines what we say we're doing. So it's like we got to take the hit now, not to take the hit later.
And so going back to your earlier conversation, you have to increase the buffer as your business grows. So when you make your first profit, a lot of that is buffer money, so you can weather these storms, so you don't threaten your price strategy, right? But these are things that if you're not playing business and thinking long term and short term, and you're just thinking about what have you done for me lately type of thinking, then what you don't realize that it's almost like you're creating your own hype cycles that will end in death of your business. And so this is why, like, this game theory, the reason I'm driving home game theory so strong, because I'm trying to say, hey, just doing a good job and making sure everybody does what they're supposed to do in your team, like a manager in the office, that's not running a business. You got to know the game you're playing, in addition of how to run your business, in addition on how to manage your resources, in addition to the psychology of human behavior. And this means that you don't get to learn that by a book. Don't stop asking me about the fucking book you need to read. It's strengthening that muscle where your muscle can handle all these intersections of thought, and you're like, oh yeah, this is just what I do. Yeah, just okay. Yeah, I'm always on top. Yeah, my brain is on top of this, and you get people around you that's helping you manage that stuff. You understand all this infrastructure you have to design. Stop trying to think that you're gonna walk in this room and be so smart and be a superhero brain and handle all these intersections of complexity. This is why you need people like Court in my life, who's a business owner that I can say, hey Court, I got this idea I want to run by you. Pastor Chris, I want to run this idea. T-Pat, I want to run this idea by you. We run ideas by each other because I'm in an intersection of complexities. And the game doesn't give a fuck about how nice I am or how committed I am or what I've done in the past. The game says, I don't give a shit about your past. It's what have you done for me lately? Because there's already somebody replacing me in a world of 8 billion people. There's already somebody waiting to get in front. So if you're in the top 1%, somebody's already trying to take you down to the 2%, 3%, 4% are averages. Go ahead, Scott, real quick.
There's a business that this happened in Oakland too. Exactly what you're saying. They had cornered the market on I'm not going to say the name because I'm still friends with the owner, but they cornered the market on exclusive sneakers and all that. They were getting all the top tier stuff that nobody could get, but they got into that cycle of doing sales, flash sales, and they started training their customers. Oh, so-and-so is just going to do a sale in like 3 weeks, or every time they have an event, they're going to do a sale. And it became this pattern of scarcity, exactly what you're saying, where the owner started to rely on the sales because the customers were trained for the sales. And it just became this feedback loop where unless the owner was having a sale, they weren't selling any product. And even though they had a corner on the market and they were the ones getting all the best high quality product that nobody in Oakland could get, they still went out of business.
That shit is cold. All right, so I got a class planned, and this is a homework assignment. This is gonna be a really cool abstraction. So you guys know that we built Fight to Media to address the impact of slavery, Jim Crow, and the crack era. One of the things that happened to our community, is currently happening to the white community now because of fentanyl era, is crack destroyed families like y'all can't begin to imagine. We have more damaged families in a little bit. So even in some cases where mother, father's home, they're not even present, right? It's just, or they don't even know how to run a family. How many of you guys, if I were to sit with you for 30 minutes, you think you could define what is a family and what's required to run a healthy family? Raise your hand if you think anybody you guys can do that. Huh? How many of you guys think if I sat with you for about 30 minutes, you can write down what would it take to run a healthy family and what's all required to make that work? Josh, you really think you can do it?
No, I'm being serious. I'm joking.
You really think you can do it on running a healthy family? Okay, do me a favor. So,
Part of what, not, I can't say running up myself, but how the family I've been a part of,
how the what?
how the family I've been a part of works.
That's not the question I asked you. What family you've been a part of? That's a challenge. See, because the reality is that even the family you've been a part of, to go back to depreciation, things are changing, right?
So I'm not doing a new family.
No.
You got to reinvest, fool.
The question wasn't about how your family ran, right? But like, for example, right now, if I put you in charge of running a family, married, kids, do you know what things you need to be working on putting in place, what things you should be measuring, what areas you should be reinvesting in, and what is signs of depreciation? So what we're going to do, we're going to start from where you're at. And this is the thing. You don't realize this is no more normal than abnormal. Why is this a problem? You know, a long time ago, I learned about when hip hop was going through its early stages of being critiqued about his profanity and his bad behavior. What they also ran a separate experiment and realized that children in some other places didn't have the same cultural impact that African American children were having to hip hop. And one of the reasons for that is because areas where there was strong family infrastructure, the kids didn't respond the same to the music to places where the family infrastructure was under attack. Crack destroyed so many of our families to a point that I'm gonna see if I can pull up a stat of how many people just lost access to healthy, stable families. And because of this loss of healthy, stable families, it's becoming a majority behavior on social media in hip hop music. Because a lot of the stuff that's being pushed through music and social media appeals to your ears because we're adaptable human beings. And when we get used to not having family, we adapt to that, right? So then when somebody makes a song, it feels good because I've adapted to not having that. I don't even know what having that feels like. So even when you have children, you're going to push this dysfunction forward because you never had that, right? So we need to have a conversation because a lot of your business dysfunctions is tied to your relationship to family. Now you can rebuild family. You absolutely can rebuild family. You can even rebuild family without getting married. But I promise you, a lot of you guys don't have the tolerance, the understanding, the value, the incentive, and the mindset to maintain family. How many times you seen family disconnect when they disagree? I don't like these people. I don't fuck with them no more. Your own family. Do you know where diversity is best taught? Family. Family is hella diverse. Outside the molesters, everybody else is cool. The molesters, sorry, outside, kill them. Don't give a shit. But you may have an auntie who's an artist who just loves ballet, her uncle's military, another uncle who just a hustler, another uncle who runs his own business. Now, in any other situation, they would never talk. But what a strong family member does is like, we will be together at this table on this date as a family. And when you go to your uncle, that nephew who kind of a fuck up, but he can go to his uncle who does the military, who thinks you're not disciplined enough, but he runs an auto shop. And when you pull up, he like, that's my nephew's car. I'm gonna take care of it. Y'all might spend a lot of hours talking. And what you'll realize is that we don't have to like everything we agree upon, but we can still connect. But we're in a world right now where everybody's breaking because we don't agree, because also we never taught how to manage real diversity. I hate this. I hate DEI. I hate the whole DEI. DEI is almost more or less a theatrical make-believe strategy that has no real grounding in real people's lives. Where real diversity happens and where real diversity training begins is in family. Because your family is nothing but diverse. Nothing but diverse. I'll give you one more example. Do you realize that how many of you guys would say you have a strong purpose? Raise your hand if you have a strong purpose. Like you say, my purpose in life, and I'm very strong about what my purpose is. You know why a lot of people don't have a strong purpose? Because you know, guess where your purpose comes from? Your family. It's an inheritance of your family. You don't realize your purpose comes from your family. But because we have never had that, we out here scouting for purpose, as opposed to like, now this has been passed down our family line for quite some time. You know what goes along with that purpose? Inheritance. These are things that it's way bigger than I'm only scratching. I barely scratched the subject. So we're gonna do a whole class about family. So here's your homework. I need you guys to write down everything. What is the value that family has to you? Like, what is your return on your investment for family? Why do you need family? I need you to write down, this is why I need family. I absolutely need family for these reasons. And just write until you just can't think of anything else. We're going to come to class. We're going to try to build this abstraction together. Now, I'm going to have an actual structure in the background, but I'm going to let us build and build and build and build, and then we're going to add. And then I want you to just walk away with a worksheet of how to go home and think about, am I really building this, or have I gotten used to dysfunction? And you got used to dysfunction, I promise you, it's not just, you just don't have family. It is starving a lot of your, Court said earlier in the slide that your natural ways. So your natural ways are outcomes of evolution that you didn't have control over, meaning your childhood. And a lot of those natural ways, if you had dysfunctional family, A lot of your natural ways are dysfunctional because of your relationship to your family. And so the way you can stop the cycle is understand the responsibility you will carry when you become the leader of your family. It's that simple. That fucking simple. And all of us have a need for others. But yet we're making this argument of individualism and do by myself. And a lot of that's because we fear the cost and we don't understand the value of family. So we're going to do a whole class just to discuss family. And once you guys understand the value of family, most strong entrepreneurs understand family is very valuable. And you have a bad family, if you talk to a lot of very, very powerful entrepreneurs, they say the most important decision you can ever make is who you're going to marry. Because that's your partner in building family. Like, I'm not playing these little silly feminist.
No, say it.
I'm not playing these silly feminist games.
Hell yeah.
We're partners in family. Do you realize in family you have to have hierarchy? You have to have hierarchy. Now, hierarchy is not across the board. There's certain things, my wife is hierarchy, some things I'm hierarchy in. But if you walk in the house and you witnessing me operate in my hierarchy, I give a fucks about your feminism talk. Because you don't come in the house when she's operating in her hierarchy. And you watch people like, yeah, no, that's what she runs. I'm back. I'm out. I don't know shit about that shit. So what I'm trying to argue is that you don't understand these hierarchies. And you know why the hierarchy is important? Do you realize that everything, okay, you know what hierarchy really translates into? Trust. Buy a house without hierarchy, you can't buy a house. Don't you trust the appraiser? Don't you trust the bank? Don't you trust the tax company? Those are all hierarchies. Don't you trust the city? The government taxes you paying? That's all hierarchies where you just automatically accept it because they're hierarchy, right? You know why you also have a problem with following others and respecting hierarchy, which is what makes a culture strong, is because we didn't have it at home. You see how this connection is cold fucking blooded? So we're going to have a whole class on family. And once you guys start seeing like, oh, I suffer from this because I never was. One of the blessings, look, I'm going to speak to men for a second. Women, give me a second. Meet a woman who has a great relationship with her father. It's a different marriage. Meet a woman who never fucked with a man before. It's a different marriage. Because there's some things that could be, and same thing with men who have bad relationship with their mothers, by the way. Let me speak to women for a second. I know some men who have bad relationships with their mothers, and they treat the women the way with their anger they have towards their mom. This shit matters, y'all. Y'all think we just like, you think that the world revolves around you, don't realize all this shit is continuum. So we're part of this continuum cycle. And because we're in a continuum cycle, family matters. And if you're going to move forward, don't push those dysfunction on the next seed that lands on this earth. Even if you just adopt friends and family and y'all build a virtual family, which I have a virtual family. Like my mother now is Mashama's mother, but she's adopted as my mother, right? This virtual family that I have, we still protect the family values. Once you understand family values, you are no longer arguing I over we. You understand that we makes I. We makes I. You don't believe me? Try to define yourself without we. It's the silliest definition you've ever told in your life. Yet you define yourself by people who will not let you sleep on that couch for 3 months if you lost your house. You value them more than the people that will have your back and give you a safe space to be imperfect. My friends, you're retarded. Can't whoop me, those of y'all are mad at me. So the reality is that we're going to have a whole session on family, but this is important because if we're addressing building stronger communities, one of the things we're going to have to address, and it's a really complex ecosystem, but we're going to just lay the foundation. And if you start off with, why do I need family? Why do I need family? And I want you to write down everything you have, because when I come to class, I'm not going to start from the beginning. We're going to start off with, all right, let's go. Those of you online, let's go. Why do you need family? And we're going to build, I'm going to build all the way down to like, what does family need to stay strong? What is the necessary resources? If those resources are missing, what are the reinvestments? If we do depreciation on family, what are areas that are depreciating every day about family? And if you're not reinvesting, your family is becoming stale and becoming fragile. And it takes one big argument for everybody to be moved all over the country. All right. With that being said, I'll leave y'all thinking. Everybody like this. But trust me, this family thing is going to change. The goal of this class is not only to build great entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs that's healthy for our communities. And if an entrepreneur doesn't understand family, a lot of your strategies won't include how to strengthen the families of your employees or the people you seek to serve. With that being said, let's have a good night.